Hey, folks, welcome to this week's edition of One Inch Radio. I'm James Boy. With me, I have the birthday boy, Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Oh man, I'm chilling. Um, Sitting here for those of you guys that are on the video screen, surrounded by 34 riches. My wife and sister-in-law decided to give me this picture to commemorate myself, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Just all the different combos over the years of different hairstyles, occasions, accessories, activities, and all that. But yeah, man, I'm chilling, man. Just happy to be around for another year, and kind of took it easy this weekend. Hung out with you guys on Saturday, and then I just kind of kicked it. And then went to a restaurant last night, and just laid it down, man. That was, nice and low key for your boy, but
Yeah.
lots of birthday love. People was reaching out on Twitter and all that, so that was really cool to see. So a lot of people showing love and everything like that, and I put my my album out, so like Dream Machine's like completely out there now. It is really good if you haven't heard it. It's available on the PayHip. It's going to be on streamings later. And that process begins, and this was it was really fun making it, and it's a lot of music that got made in this time, like during the pandemic, and really trying to clean out all that stuff. And it's almost like it's sad when you put an album out into the world, because it's like, oh, it's over, it doesn't belong to me anymore, it's out there, so whatever the people think of it, that's what they think of it. But
Well, unless you change it up like Kanye was doing when
that's
he
true.
put out an album before he was ready, and then he kept just switching stuff up.
That's true. I should go back and switch some of the snares and shit, and then just re-upload them and be like, yeah, it's completely different now, So, but yeah, 34 years old now, and it's cool.
Okay, so the restaurant, was it the Brazilian steakhouse that you were telling me about?
Yeah, Texas de
Okay.
Brazil. So like, all
So how
right,
did that go? Because I've
It was
heard
awesome.
reputation for those places where they just continuously keep bringing out food all the time.
They do. So the deal was when they sit you down, they're like they basically tell you how it works if you haven't been there and all that, and they give you these little like kind of mats. One of them's a green side, one of them's a red side. So if you got it green facing up, they know to stop at your table and ask you if you like some of the meat they're bringing out. And then they have like the salad and like kind of potatoes or rice, like at this like buffet style bar. You can just refill all you want. I think I only made one plate there, because what happens is you think you can compete, be like, oh, they're not coming out that often, and they're not giving you enough to be overwhelmed with. But the thing is, they do not stop bringing out the meat. The meat keeps arriving. You think you can handle the meat, but what happens is the meat overwhelms you. And you come out there, and they carry the meat around like on these large sword kind of things, right? And then they give you like these little like pliers or whatever to take the meat off as they cut the meat. And what happens is like the meat starts piling up on your plate essentially, and it's like you can kind of keep up the meat and all that stuff, and get rid of it. And then you got to flip your little card over and be like, all right, man, that's enough meat. The meat has started to overwhelm me, and I got to listen for the proper meat. You gotta save room for your lamb chops when they come around. You gotta check out the filet mignon when it comes out. If they come over with the sausage, you might pass on the sausage. Well, you have sausage, with breakfast or something. But what I really loved it. I love the meat. And the Brazilian steakhouse, everything was nice and flavorful. There was a lot of variety there, and I had lots of fun. I would definitely go back, and if you look for quality meats, Texas de Brazil, that was sure a fun time. So just they just don't get overwhelmed by the meat if you go. That's the only thing I can really say.
So I want to talk about how impressed I was just now by how you were able to keep talking about them sending out meat and keep making obvious the same obvious joke over and over and over again without breaking. Right, while I'm over here looking at you like this motherfucker here, really gonna keep going on and on about the meat, and he's gonna keep the routine going. Congrats to you, man. It's a sign of your growth as a man and as a human. That because look, if this had been let's say 2008, ain't no way you getting through with this one. Ain't no way. You would have said it one time and then you'd be like, pause. That's exactly what you would.
I think the comment section is handling that for me. I think
I see that.
It would be better. It would be better for the joke if I go through and not break.
Right.
You know, and you take and you do the strategic pauses. That's what you do with it.
Right. So yeah, man, that's what's
giving
up.
them, giving them 4D behind the wall. You know.
So it was in Tampa or St. Pete?
It's in Tampa.
Okay. All right. So the rule of 7. All right. So, I mean, do you want to talk more about the album as far as like what's on it, as far as the content? Like,
why not? I'll do a little shilling. So if you guys want to check the album out, we'll have it in the link in the thing of the show. So like it's a double album essentially. So part 1 came out in January. Part 2 is in April now. Everything's pretty much written and produced by me, recorded pretty much all of it too, mixed it, everything like that. So, only had a couple features on the first side of the album, like John Connor and Montezzi was on a song with me called In the Trenches. Montezzi was on a song with me called Step Your Rap Game Up. And aside from that, it's just, there's a lot of rich. So it's 9 on each song, or 9 on each side. It's like, there's your Thriller disc and your Purple Rain disc. You can pick which one is which. I think it's really, really solid, both sides. So I don't really have a favorite one over the other, but I don't know, maybe this too, I would probably say. So if you guys would like to get that, you can get it. You can listen to it for free from my PayHip page, just how we distribute the FOA's draft. But this one's not linked up with the Social Suplex one. But what you'll also see is option to listen to it free, or you can pay what you like, $1, $5. We had a couple people pay $50 for it, so I was very fortunate there. So it's just a way to kind of give myself a test, kind of see where I'm at with you got to put stuff out to kind of see where you're at and then take a shot. Are people willing to invest in what I got going on? If they're not, it's back to the drawing board. But I feel like people are, so I'm just gonna keep at it. And one lifetime, end of the year, like we're already back working and on the next one, so it never ends.
Okay, so check that out.
Like Triple H's stories, it never ends.
Wow. So make sure you send me the links or message me the links so I can put them in the description to do all that.
Sure will.
And update the links because there's already stuff from the first for number 1. So yeah. So let's see what else or where do we need to get to from there? You want to talk about AEW and All In Wembley Stadium?
Yes, we should probably begin with that. I think that's the biggest news of the week. And what a step to just announce that. Sometimes Tony Khan kind of gets banged on from people when he does these announcement things, and the mileage may vary on what you think of them. I think I saw a post where someone wrote down every single one of them, and I found them all to be kind of pertinent announcements, to be like, hey, there's a new show coming, there's new whatever coming. Then people just they do the thing where this doesn't really matter, but as far as this one, they announced the biggest show in company history. They announced,
and I still heard people complaining, saying it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. They announced the biggest show in the company's history, the debut in the UK, all in one, a stadium event in itself. international event, all this stuff here, and it's like, this is a huge step. This is awesome. And I immediately couldn't think about how these next 4 months would go with the discourse and how like trash everything would be that surrounded this. And there's going to be so much over scrutinization of every part of this show, from literally people that are in the second match to the main event. There's going to be, all the attendance stuff, whether, they reach that 90,000 the Wembley Stadium can hold, whether
they won't. It doesn't matter.
like there's like, I'm just saying, like, even if they do, people will try to say it doesn't matter. I saw people say, we don't care if it sells out. It's somewhere else. It's not in America. It doesn't matter. I've seen this, James. I'm like, what? Does their money not be green? Like, I don't get it. But, whether it's 75,000, 50,000, 40,000, like, all the ticketing stuff is gonna go nuts. Then it's like, who do you have to have on the show to reach what arbitrary number do people set? It's all gonna be disgusting and nauseating, and like, I'm like, all the bad face stuff is already like started, and it's only gonna get worse the closer the show gets. I know you probably have some thoughts on this as well.
Well, I mean, my thoughts aren't too different from what, you already heard me say when I was talking about that in the Largo Loop thread, as far as like, I don't know why, outside of WWE running Wembley in 1992, I don't know why people think like buying these stadiums are like such a gigantic like undertaking, right?
People
like
think they can't afford the rent, James.
Yeah, like with making $40-something million per year on a TV contract, making $2-point-something million off every single pay-per-view buy rate. That's not even including the gate when people, buy the tickets and then go there and then buy merch. Not even including that, just the pay-per-view stuff. It's like they just think they're like, oh, they can't afford it. So I'm like, how much do you think it costs to rent the stadium for a weekend? Do you think it's $10 million? It ain't.
We're also talking about someone that probably has a relationship with Wembley.
Right.
That with the Jaguars, who are on like a 3-year deal with them, I believe. So they, like I don't even want to know what happens if they draw more, or if they sell more tickets to this than like a night of WrestleMania. I don't even want to know what these mutants,
who cares?
I don't know what these mutants are going to do to cope. We might have mass, suicide or something. Like something's going to be bad. Like I don't know.
So,
yeah.
So, what I was on thinking about it was like, all right, so Meltzer talked to a person that has promoted Joshua fights at Wembley, right?
Right.
They said that the price is for about $400,000.
Okay.
$400,000. Like, I think, like, okay, so when the price used to be, I don't know what it is now, but back in the day, like before we went to the WWE Network, like they will go to an arena for Raw, it would cost them $200,000. Mm-hmm. And then if they want to do a pay-per-view, it would be more than that, right? Because it costs more for satellite uplink and pay-per-view, whatever. But like either way, like this thing is not that expensive. Like I don't know why people think it's $10 million. It's not. And also, like, I think another thing people like have just for because they're not thinking about this, like we had a global pandemic where these places that exist to hold sports events and concerts and whatever, like, was shut down for a certain amount of time. And these quote unquote landlords, for lack of a better word, like a lot of landlords all around the world, like they ended up doing what? Going broke or jacking up prices to make up for what they lost from people not wanting to pay, or not be able to pay their rent because they couldn't go to work. So like they're hurting as well. So like a lot of places might be on the Jerry Jones thing where how like you used to see motherfuckers doing anything in the new Cowboy Stadium after they made it. Whereas like, look, you might get a damn birthday party, fuck the rodeo, a birthday party one random Friday night in Jerry World. So yeah, like it didn't surprise me. It didn't shock me that they would run a stadium show in the way that I saw some of this stuff. It's just like, what is going on? Now, as far as what makes it a success or not, really is we don't know if it's pay-per-view or if it's TV. We don't know that yet. People are still wondering what's going to happen with All Out if that exists still or not. But either way, based off of what we think they could do with the gate, given like whenever they've done gigantic shows, there's always been a gigantic demand for it. Part where they've never been over to that side of the hemisphere.
The fact they have the biggest television in the country there, so
for wrestling, yeah.
For wrestling, and it's like, I think that demand, the fact they're bringing back the All In name for it, like the cool stuff they're gonna like seemingly have culminating there. The kind of like once you only get to run one first stadium show,
right?
Like there's the novelty of them putting All In on it. I like how they brought up the founders, like they shouted out Cody. There's a lot of companies
3 days after he lost WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, that was kind of funny, but you know, they shouted out Cody, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and it was like, you know, the spirit of All In. It was like, fuck the spirit, is all the way back now. Like you know, like as far as going All In, like I think a lot of people over there are probably going to want to be a part of that. You know, and there's going to be lots of wrestlers that are wanting to get on this show. I just want to say now, I do not care about you British independent wrestling dorks that are trying to tweet your way into working on this show somehow. I'm sorry, no, like we didn't come for you. Like we're coming for, you know, the promotion that we watch.
Is there anybody in particular?
Nah, I'm just seeing people, you know, just randos, like just trying to, like, you know, no offense to him, I like his work and stuff like that. I saw a journalist try to will like Simon Miller onto the card. I'm like, for what?
For
like,
what culture?
Yes. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, no, that's not, like, no offense to Simon Miller. Why would we want to, you know, see that? Like, no, like,
like that's not going to help them draw not one bit.
And
not get Simon.
He doesn't work there or have any like connection to the company or anything. Like,
right. And he's a very nice guy. I met him after the NXT takeover in Barclays for NXT New York or Takeover New York. Like I met him. Like and I said to him, like, I don't mean to offend you, but like you're taller than I expected you to be, because I don't know if it's because like the UK thing, whatever else, but like I thought you were gonna be like 5'9". He's like 6 flat. But yeah, like I met all the What Culture guys during that time. But anyway, like that's not like if you're going to bring, obviously Pat is going to be on the show. That makes all sense.
I'm pretty sure Michael Oku is going to be on the show too, but I'm just talking about.
But that's where we stop.
That's
it.
Where we need to stop. Like the randos, like they're just trying to will like ring announcers and shit like that. Like, no, we're not here for you.
There is no reason for Rhea O'Reilly or like Jetta to be on these shows. None. Like, I've watched Pro Wrestling Eve. There's no reason for any of them to be there. None. Sorry. No disrespect. I've watched Wrestle Queendoms before. No.
Yeah, man.
Am I wrong here?
Yeah, like not at all. But I just, you know, I think some of it is like the just a lot of the bad faith has run me down. It's just like, yo, I don't even want to hear it. Like, this is whatever agenda people want to get off for the card about the promotion, they will use it to run that play for it. So beware. Don't allow yourself to get trapped into wasting your time and your energy on, you know, on goofies that are doing this stuff. So
I already did, but I didn't like put it on like in public forum. Like we talked about the thing about like people were talking about like this thing won't come close to sold out. What are you talking about? I was like, well, neither did like SummerSlam when they put like 40,000 people on one side of the building and inside of an arena that fit like over 60 to 70 to 80,000 people. Who gives a shit? Like they put it to one side, they shot it well, it looked like it was fucking jam packed, and it was you know, some of the matches were really good and it helped the crowd, and the crowd helped those matches. No one said it was some disaster that SummerSlam did that. I don't know what the gate was. I bet it was in the millions.
Right.
You know, so you got that. I mean, you got all the stuff like, you know, apparently like JYD, Bill Watts, and Mid-South were just complete all disasters running those Superdome shows. Like that last second that last second Goldberg, Georgia Dome, Nitro was a disaster because that building's only halfway full,
Yep.
right? Like all the WrestleManias, all the standard WrestleManias have all been failures. They didn't sell them all out. Like, sell out or get the fuck on.
Right.
It's like, and then people are throwing out like these fake, WWE attendance numbers. Like, nah, man.
Yeah,
like,
they're gonna be using a lot of fake numbers to try to
the
like.
Fake numbers aren't even sellouts.
Right. There's going to be a lot of fake numbers being juxtapositioned against, and I don't know if AEW does fake or real numbers. I feel like they've done real numbers up to now, unless like proven otherwise. Like I don't think that's a thing that they've really done. Kind of like
they don't ever really tout attendance.
Yeah. But I think either way, this is set to be a massive show. I think it's important not to like lose that and all this stuff. Like, it's going to be like a complete step up, and this company in a lot of ways was launched on defying conventional wisdom, like, right? And so like I look at it like, why can't they do it again? So
yeah, that's true. They did kind of start with like 4 guys saying, hey, let's try to sell out a 10,000 seat building with no TV. It happened.
So it's like when people can like latch on to what they feel like is a movement, a lot of things get more powerful, and that's like in all walks of life.
Yeah. All right, so I guess from there we get to what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the AEW shows, or do you want to get to New Japan?
Oh, I want to do New Japan. We haven't talked about New Japan in quite a minute. And the Sakura Genesis show just happened. I was sitting home Saturday morning, and I had nothing to do. So I was like, well, why don't I just like pop this show on? I was spoiled on the main event already, but and I think the Mercedes match as well. But I was like, yeah, I got to watch this anyway, so why don't I just throw it on? So threw it on. I watched like the Big 5 match. Apparently they did some Bullet Club angle where they kind of kicked EOP out. I believe.
Yeah. I didn't watch it. I only heard reports of it. Is basically like EOP was like trying to hand something off to a kid. Finley basically snatched it from the kid and threw it into the crowd, and then EOP like handed his shirt to the kid, and I guess Finley missed it, and then there was like slaps to the face for tags, and then eventually like after the match, EOP and Phantasma were about to go at it. Kenta is trying to break him up. He seems like he's acting like he's on EOP's side, and then he drops EOP, and then I think Kenta also lays out Hikuleo. So kind of leaving the dividing lines of what's going on. Or not Hikuleo. Ishimori laid out somebody. I think Ishimori actually turned on EOP as well. And then they also turned on someone else that was in there. But yeah, the gist of it is Finley is the more or less the leader. I think he wants to call it the Rebel Club instead of Bullet Club. And gotta be careful with that, by the way. But
oh yeah.
And EOP is on his way towards baby facery, which is about time.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone said this on air. Like I think EOP and Logan Paul are somehow kin.
They look kind of similar. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I pretty much focused on the last 5 matches. So I guess we can start with Mercedes Mone defending against Azumi and Hazuki. 3-way match for IWGP Women's Championship. This match was excellent.
Yeah, it's a great match between those 3. Now, while I'm watching it, I'm looking at them like, and then at one point they end up getting Sasha running corner to corner into both of them, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize there was such a difference in speed and pace and athleticism between like the 3 people in the ring. And then you're watching, I'm like, we've seen them, they've playing dozens of all their matches, and you're like, all right, so like it's one thing to kind of have an idea as far as, technically, who's crisper, faster, more athletic, and looks more, dynamic in the ring. It's another thing to actually see the proof. And yeah, like Azumi and Hazuki look like technically better trained wrestlers than Sasha. Now, that doesn't mean that, like, you know, like that doesn't matter, right? Like, we've seen tons of guys have great matches that, like, or tons of people that are, like, you know, far less athletic, blah blah blah. You can sell the drama. You know, a match is a match, right? Like, say what you want to about Miz. We've seen Miz be in positions where he's had great matches, where people cared about and that were actually legitimately great, regardless of his skill level or whatever else. Depends on how you present yourself, whatever you're trying to get done. And Sasha's, you know, is, from my opinion, and I think your opinion as well, the best women's wrestler this country's ever produced as far as in-ring talent. But you see them in the ring, and you're just looking at it, and you're like, oh, she's a step behind. And obviously, like, I saw people say, oh, she's keeping up and everything, as far as like people thinking like for some reason like Azumi and Hazuki were trying to embarrass her, and it's like, well, I'm trying to have a good match. If we do the thing where like I'm trying to prove something, then like I'm gonna have a worse match by comparison. That'd be stupid. It's a dance. I need a dance partner to be like in the same thing with me. But like you're just watching, you're like, okay, so those two more, you know, look, you know, better than her or whatever else. But it was super fun. It was cool to see Sasha try, you know, in a different element than what we've seen from her. Because even the match with Kyrie was a lot like her typical, you know, big match with a few, you know, things added to it for oomph. But yeah, like that was nothing out of her comfort zone. This was, and like I thought she acquitted herself quite nicely. And you know, now, and that this match is over and she retained the title, we're going to get the match that like a lot of people really want to see. Like you get a horsewoman in the ring with one of the three daughters of Stardom, and like there are no restrictions and time limits of those sorts. They just go out there and just do whatever they want. And I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, as far as the match, like I thought Hazuki was the best person in the match. I thought Sasha was number 3, but I thought she still looked good.
They all look good
in the match, and it was like, you know, I think the doubting of Mercedes has to like stop at some point, because I think she's going to show up and do her thing. And the more that, you know, if she gets more chances at this, I think she's going to be just fine. She's obviously bringing a lot of fan support in. And I think that as far as this match goes, like, I'm still kind of wondering, like, you know, if they pinned Azumi anyway, you know, why was Hazuki in here? Were they trying to like just ensure, like, you know, like I don't know, like were they trying to carry her? Like, what was the deal here?
So once I saw that, my what do you call it? My spider senses went off, and you know. Like, Hazuki did beat Giulia in the first night of Grand Prix last year. She hadn't got a title shot. At the beginning of the year, this year, Hazuki came out, was wearing red gear all throughout the beginning of Triangle Derby. And, you know, they gave her the Kamatani match. And I think that was more because it's like, we haven't given her a title shot in so long, and Kamatani really needs a banger match to kind of get people off of her. Throw her in there, and what do you know? Right? But, yeah, like that's still there. And I, you know, after this Yokohama show on the 23rd, like basically 2 weeks later, they're doing a pay-per-view in Fukuoka where Hazuki is from, right? So like I've seen the posters for that they put out for the show, promotional posters, and like one is FWC together and the other one is Micah, all three from Fukuoka.
Mm-hmm.
It will make sense that, you know, one or two of them are in red belt, white belt matches. So, like, I think that the whole point was, like, get her in there, get her, you know, shined up, and have Azumi take the pin, because Azumi can take the pin, and Hazuki doesn't get pinned. And you can then, you know, say that, like, we have protected this person as potentially a challenger in a month or whatever else, a month from now. That's what my immediate, like, you know, spider sense went off, because I thought that, like, Micah, before basically anybody that was any kind of star in Stardom basically like lost in the Street of the tournament. I was like, it feels like Hazuki or Micah could win this, and then like they get their title shot. Now that the title matches were already set for Yokohama, like get their match at Fukuoka. I guess that's, you know, they decided to still do that without using Cinderella for it.
Yeah. in the match, like I think it's rare that Mercedes shows up, and I think she's number 3 on the gear chart.
I think I like their gear more than Hazuki's, because Hazuki's is basically, since 2019 has been on a template. I like the color dynamic stuff she's done with it lately. But Azumi did outdo her with the gear.
I also did like seeing some of the Mercedes fans tweeting about the level of physicality that was going on. And I was like, brother, this was nothing. Like, this was light.
Right. Like, there was I saw someone say, I think you said it to me, you're like, wow, this match is on 1.5 speed. And to me, I was like, this is like a high-speed match on 0.8. But okay. So I was, it just depends on what you've ever seen before around here.
Be careful.
Like, this wasn't exactly like Natsuki Tayo and Leon.
Right. I was gonna say, be careful with them outlets that got Bell with an extra E on them, like so they don't be as swift sometimes. But there was I think there was one of them that showed Hazuki like clubbing Mercedes with the bows and all that, and
she wasn't even hitting her like in the neck at that point in time. She was just hitting her like Sasha had an arm up. She was hitting her here.
Let him hit. I promise she's okay.
Yeah. She's
okay.
Perfectly fine. These weren't like she wouldn't even hit her in the neck or head, and like people that I guess they're just not used to seeing like women wrestle physically. It's weird. It's like y'all just saw that with Sasha and Charlotte, not Charlotte, but Charlotte and Rhea the other day.
Let's get her in there with Shuri next and see what it hits for.
Man, the first time you get that cravat, and then roll into a snapmare, and then Sasha,
and that right here with with the.
You want the chest kicks late in the match?
Yeah,
I mean,
that
could happen. But I'm just talking about like at the beginning, like just roll you over and just hit you, and it sounds like a gun goes off in that bitch. Oh my god, like that. She has. I mean, Mayu will give her one of those probably in the match.
Yeah,
obviously Mayu doesn't
hit
nearly as hard as Shuri does, but she hits hard with kicks.
You mentioned one of the 3 daughters of Stardom versus a Horsewoman. Mayu Iwatani got in the ring. Laid down the official challenge for Mayu, called a slap for her troubles. I believe Mercedes also called her a bitch. And also, called herself the Princess of Japan.
Which was hilarious. I popped.
Yeah.
Because I was like, do you mean Empress? Or
nah.
Whatever. It's still funny.
But, they set this match up, and James, they're this show is gonna be on 4/23. I see there are some people that are calling for this the main event. What are your thoughts on this? Should these people
don't know what you're talking about? No disrespect. I get why you would think that could be a main event match, but it is not. It absolutely is not. And coming from like, I didn't know what it was coming from about it. I didn't know until I talked to Keem. Keem was like, it's coming from exactly who you think it's come from. I was like, oh god. But like from that group of people, I would suggest that like the thing that you have used for years to rightfully say, hey, this company is not treating Sasha Banks correctly or position her correctly compared to how over she is. Type in your Google Trends. Pull up your Google Trends, type in Mercedes Mone, type in Tam Nakano, type in Giulia, turn it to Japan, and then go to last year, last 90 days, and then see the gigantic difference in popularity in Japan. And remember, this show is happening in Yokohama Arena. That's why those two are going to main event the fucking show, not her. It's just, I'm sorry.
Quite simple, actually.
It's quite, like, look. If you think like it's some weird thing, I would say to you, you can go pull up Wrestle Kingdom 12, and they were just to accommodate people's feelings. They said that there was a 2 main event show, and the first main event happened to be Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega, and then the main event was Naito versus Okada. There's only ever one main event ever. Don't you ever forget this.
Chris Jericho claims that shit as a main event to this day.
Because he's a worker. He's a carny too, right? So yeah, man, like it's fine. They're gonna go on. They're gonna have a match.
Double main event one.
Right?
Maybe they can do that, and then they'll be like, oh, okay.
But Rich, it's not even going on second. I think it's going on third from the top.
Got you.
I think Kamatani and Mina's going on second from the top. Now, you can have a debate about that if you want to, but the main event, nah, absolutely not. Look, there are people that we talk to, like Niagara Driver, even Keen, and they feel like Giulia and Tam are like LeBron, like peak LeBron carrying this card as far as juice, as far as storyline, compelling you to want to watch this. Like, don't make a mistake. Like, the show is absolutely loaded. Like, they're going to go on a run, and like their last 8 matches, all of the matches, you'd be like, you wouldn't be surprised to they all got 4 stars. That's how loaded this card is. But as far as like the storyline, drama, and storytelling, it's the reason why it's called, All-Star Grand Queendom. It's an all-star game. So yeah, like it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I really want to see Mercedes versus Mayu. I think that'll be great. I don't care who wins, but it'll be great, and like there's gonna be just a slew of great matches, and I think this could be the best show of the year that we get based on this lineup. But we'll see.
So up next, we have the New Japan World Television title match. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Shota Umino in 13 minutes and 35 seconds. And James, I know Shota Umino has had his detractors. He's had up and down performances. Maybe that has to do with some of his matchups.
I was going to say that too.
Maybe just a suggestion there. But before we throw this young man in the bin, like some of you have, allow me to reach into that bin and pick up, where in a situation where I, am buying low, I'm getting in on the ground floor with this young man. I thought this match was excellent. I thought this was like even a level higher than, I think this might have been my favorite match of the night.
Love the match. Before we get to the match,
he should have won too.
Shota comes out, and he, obviously, Death Riders comes out, and they get him basically walking through like the concourse area before you get out there. And I'm watching, and I'm like, I was there just a few months ago, and I was like, wait a second, he's doing the walkout thing like Moxley. That's really cool. And he comes out amongst the fans, and he's wearing the all white. He has a jacket and everything, and I'm just like, they gotta try. I see why they're trying, because they gotta try once you have interest like this. And like he's so the crowd is taking to him, and he's walking her down, and then he's handing stuff off to the kids at ringside. You're gonna have to try it with the fucking guy. You're gonna have to. But getting to, or do you have thoughts on that, or do you want to get to the match?
No, like I think I'm more like, the entrance to me was the entrance, but like how I saw like him like moving around the ring, it was reminiscent of like, his performance at Forbidden Door. It was just like he's got a motor, like he's intense, he hits hard, like he's structuring the matches like around these great near falls, and I think you got to give Zach some credit on that too, and him and Zach were in there like hitting. So I don't know what it was, that has plagued him inconsistency wise, but he is a young wrestler, still trying to figure it all out. But I think you got to keep this guy in the rotation of that, like like how you keep Sammy Guevara going kind of in AEW, how you keep Jungle Boy going, like these are guys you're going to lean on in the future. Shota Umino is absolutely that, like especially when I look at the youth class of New Japan, like you cannot afford to like fuck him up.
Right, I agree. So as far as the match, love the match as well, and I once he hit the Death Rider, For sure, because they teased like he just wasn't going to be able to hit it, and then he was going to lose. He was able to hit it. Then he fucking hits it at the end, and then they kick out at 2.99. I was like, yeah, Saber's a great champion in this format. He really is and has been, and he continues. But whether it's Ren, whether it's Shota, maybe it's Suji when he comes back or whatever else. Like one of these young dudes is going to catch him, and like the crowd's going to pop crazy for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was into this match heavily. So, after that,
this was like, in a way, the matches weren't the same, but as far as like the pacing and everything, it reminded me a lot of like that Wrestle Kingdom match that Saber had with Ishii, where it was like 12 minutes and it was like sprint, and it was awesome. Like Saber's really good at sprints, really, really fucking good at sprints, and it's like to the point where it's like maybe. This is my preferred style for him over even like the stuff he's done with Ospreay, which is incredible. Like I enjoy him going out there and saying, we're just going to throw all this shit in a short amount of time. We're just going to hit hard, move fast, and like the transitions in and out of stuff will be just lightning quick. He's really fucking good in this format. He really has been.
Up next, IWGP Tag Team Championships. Aussie Open defeats Bishamon in just over 15 minutes. And for the IWGP Tag Team Championships, this one was sensational as well.
Yeah.
I was very happy to see Aussie Open win. They were getting big chants from Ryogo, however Mayu Utani says it. I'm glad she didn't say the building when she came out, but she knew she was going, like, nah, you ain't finna get me to stumble right here. I know where I'm at. That's all she got to say.
It's time for not to put the goofy Mayu aside that botches stuff. You can't tell if it's on purpose or not. It's time to like just focus in front of new company. I'm not gonna fuck it up. I'm not even gonna do it. So yeah.
Yep. But the whole arena was into these guys, and
Aussie Open chance on multiple occasions.
Bishop, absolute studs. Think about their last couple months. Like they won that belt from FTR. They had the World Tag League before that, and they also I think they were working. No, this is a little far back, but like they've been excellent. They beat Okada and Tanahashi recently.
Yep.
And it was time for Aussie Open to finally win something, I think. And I thought this was a great match. Like just like down the stretch, as hot as a match can get, essentially. And this is only 15 minutes, this match. So serve me this.
In like the first third of the match, Kyle Fletcher does a moonsault off the top rope, goes to the floor. He ends up the spot was kind of weird. He's obviously like he's a lot taller than the guys they're supposed to catch him. He ends up landing on his feet and over rotating, bouncing backwards. His head gets split on the metal barricade, and it's bad. Like he split open the back of his head, and he split open like by his ear, and blood's draining everywhere. And he had to tag out to let Davis buy some time to wrestle the match, and then have him get bandaged up by whoever it was, because you couldn't see him on camera who was bandaging up. And when he got back on the apron, the bandaging looked so bad. I was like, it looks like Great O'Khan did that shit. But like he's bandaged up, and then he's bleeding through the bandage, and the blood's still pouring from his ear. And I'm wondering if if his ear's half detached or not. I can't tell. And he got back in there, and he went out there and got destroyed and was surviving. The crowd kept getting hotter and hotter for him. And yeah, man, like Fletcher's 24?
Yeah.
he has a lot of potential. A lot of potential. Like he's at that stage where like he doesn't have like a great body yet. There's still time for that and everything, but he has the height and the frame for it. And he already has like, he's already wrestles in a way that's like makes him dynamic even for his height. Like he could be a player. And I don't know what his promo game is like, but in the ring, he could definitely be a player in the future.
Mark Davis bought a lot of goodwill through that New Japan Cup run. A lot of people were a fan of the dump truck gang, as they call him.
I mean, Tag League, they got over.
Yeah.
Because they were great in Tag League. Like, I don't ever watch Tag League. The only thing I ever hear about it that comes out of Tag League is who won, which leads to who's going to Wrestle Kingdom. I heard stuff about how great they were consistently throughout that tournament, and they didn't win, but Yeah, now that they're here, and then it makes sense that like you end up getting the Aussie Open chance, and the Aussie Oi chance. Yeah,
was really into it. Junior championship match: Hiromu Takahashi defeats Robbie Eagles, just over 21 minutes. Retains the belt. Hiromu's trying to embark on this legendary junior title reign right now. Like, you think about a lot of times when he's had the belt, he's always had it for a shorter time than you think. So this is fresh off that Leo Rush match, and he is going to be whooping all ass pretty much for the foreseeable future. They
seems
had
like
me they had me bite on Robbie's
the submission
at the end.
Yes,
I was like, hold on, they about to do this, and then they did not do that. And Hiromu got the win.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by this match. To hear that they went into the match with Hiromu with a knee injury, and then the way that Eagles just, more or less just took apart his knee in different ways. He just worked over it, like just put on a clinic on his knee, and Hiromu sold and was awesome selling, and you can see the pain on this dude, and the way his movement was changed and shaped by the injuries that happened, and some of the calculated risks he took to survive. Because I think there was a 450 or a shooting star or whatever else, and after his knee had been worked over and over again, and Hiromu has to put the knees up to survive, and they're both just in a world of hurt between Eagle's bad knees and Eagle's bad ribs and Hiromu's like damaged knees, and then they get to that point where like Hiromu's like he's going to try to go for like a time bomb off of the second rope, and like Robbie turns into a second rope reverse Rana that drops Hiromu right on his head, and then he goes back to like the Ron Middle special, the inverted figure four, and Hiromu is like doing the Dragon Lee like tap one time and then don't tap again, and you get by into it, and he's screaming and just in agony and crawling, and he gets close to the ropes, he lets him grab the ropes, and then after that long fight to get to the ropes, Eagles pulls him back to the middle of the ropes and it slaps it on again, and he hyperextends, and Hiromu is screaming and screaming. You're like, oh my god, he's going to tap. Like Robbie's going to win his fucking belt, and then he Hiromu turns it into a roll up to get out of it, and then by the end he ends up I think Hiromu is in the win, but like it was great. It was for a match, it wasn't like by Hiromu standards and Prime was like some super crazy match. This was a great classical cruiserweight match of just like, you have a bad leg and sell it. And like, how are you going to be able to deal with all this stuff, trying to do all these athletic things with a bad knee? And I thought he did a great job. And I thought that Robbie was getting over. They're beating up this dude that sells all that merch there, and he's out here getting this chant over Robbie, oi, oi, oi. Like hey man, like this, all these Aussie Gaijins, all of them over on the show, all of them.
That United Empire, trying to tell y'all, like it's been my favorite unit from their inception, essentially, and it's paying off. But the main event, Sonata taking on Kazuchika Okada. The main event defeats him for the IWGP World Heavyweight title in just over 26:58. And this is the result of Sonata winning that New Japan Cup. And he comes in with the new unit, the new haircut, the new gear, the new music.
Fresh face.
The no beard. Kind of looking just like completely like flip the script on he just looks like a new person, essentially. Like that just came in and replaced whatever his old self was.
Looks like somebody that wants to try to be a star again.
So like they had a really good match. Sonata ended up winning it. Sonata got a very positive reaction, really over. And there's nothing that you can say in that respect. But here's the other side. At the end of the day, it's Sonata. Is it the most exciting decision in the world? I don't know. I can't answer that. However, I see the way they got it set up for him in the and the fallout of this.
Right.
And when Evil won that shit, he fought the same guy that her Sonata's about to fight.
Something tells me that match will be 1,000 times better. Don't you think?
So I was like, huh? I was like, so they're gonna give him Hiromu. It's like, all right, there's no real danger there or anything like that, but all you got to do is just have a great match. And then I was actually talking with Josh today. I was like, they treating Hiromu Takahashi like he's Sean Waltman, like in the 90s. Like, yeah, you can't have a fucking good match with him. You're fucking done in this town, Jack. But obviously the Lij former connection there. This should be interesting. I mean, let's see what Sonata can do with it. Look, not my favorite guy or anything, but whatever. Let's see what he can do with it. Okada as a champion is like this status quo thing that I don't know if it necessarily makes New Japan any bigger right now by Okada just having the championship, like, at all times. Let's see what Sonata can do. I'm open to it, especially like seeing the reaction that he got. I don't know like what this means for Forbidden Door or anything. Obviously, Dominion still has to happen. A lot of people think this could be one of those, put it on them short reigns
and get it back to him. Yeah,
yeah. People think that can happen.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I don't know, but him going into Forbidden Door is interesting. I think it makes Okada 1,000 times more interesting at Forbidden Door than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, look, if they never do a Sonata Naito title match, they could easily do that at the Dome next year. They could easily do that. Mm-hmm. Like that's their second for the top match. But yeah, like I've always liked Sonata a lot more than you have. While completely understanding all the criticism he has about his pacing and whether or not he has a top gear, whether or not he even like wrestles under the impression that there is a thing called urgency. I'm with all that, and I get all of it. But I watched that dude move in the ring, and I'm just like, and I see his look, and I'm just like, and I see how the crowd takes to him. I'm like, you gotta try. Like if we are past the point to where like we just cannot get AJ Styles, Kenny Omegas, Will Ospreys or whatever else, and Jay White's out the door, and you got to try to make new stars. I don't know who else you go get on that roster to try this with. And then also you throw in the part where it's like, if you're gonna try with Evil, then the bar is so low, you may as well try with any damn body.
Look, let's try with Tomohiro Ishii next. Let's do it. Since we done peeled the scab back, since we done kicked the door in, since we smoked the weed already, since we lit the cigarette, however type of thing we did. Let's get Tomohiro Ishii certified for his career. Drop that shit the next day. I don't give a fuck.
See now. After all that time, now I see what this is all really about. You are still on this agenda to get Tomohiro Ishii the fucking belts.
A never-ending agenda, a never-ending story, James. Another one.
Oh, fair enough. Because obviously, if you ask me who I'd rather be champion, yeah, Ishii. Well, how does that work with the domestic crowd? I don't know. I seriously doubt he is as over as Sonata. But yeah, man, I think that the just 4 guys and the just 5 guys thing has really taken to the crowd, and like in a way, like when you see like the Noah Budokan Hall shows, and you would see like them doing like the VTRs, and you see like the guys sitting down and talking, like this guy, seeing Sonata in the suit, fresh face with the glasses and the shorter hair, black hair. This is the guy that can be on the main event VTRs. That guy with the fucking blonde hair and the beard could not have been. He just looks so much more somebody you actually take more serious at the main event level. Not to say that like his skill has changed. He more or less wrestles the same, except for having a new finisher.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just looks like a brand new guy. He really does, and he looks like a more serious guy. And there are questions to be asked about like the level of effort he was putting into this thing when like he was, they sent him out there to Yokohama Arena for the Lij versus Congo stuff, and he's losing. So yeah, I mean, they cycled him down to get him revamped and cycle back up, and like he beat Naito, and now he's beating Okada, and let's see where this goes. I think he's going to do better than people that have those legitimate criticisms about him, I think he's going to do better than what even they would expect. I really do. But like you, I do agree. I think this will be a short-term run.
Yeah, because like him beating Naito and Okada already, it kind of strangely resembles that Evil thing where it's like, all right, you did the Naito and Okada match, like,
except in reverse,
right? But it's like, all right, shit, who do they give you now? Like, maybe you give Naito or Okada down the road. Like, maybe that's the answer, just like it was last time. But you look around the roster, it's like, all right, Goto's freed up. Do you give Goto a championship match? Like, and then it's like, I don't think you want to do that.
I don't think you'll do it on the Big Show. Like, if you like that, like that's definitely not happening at Dominion. That's like a power struggle last match.
Right. So I'm looking around and I'm just like, I wonder. And then it brings up that New Japan roster, like the need to get more new people going. So I can't hate it from that perspective. Like, as far as like, at least they didn't get the bright idea to put it back on Evil or some shit like that.
God. So as far as just 5 guys in the faction as a whole,
I would like to see Taichi get a shot.
I was going to talk about Taichi.
Okay. So
Taichi during the match, you can hear him banging on the mat, encouraging Sonata to go. And like the amount of lazy this fucking guy was, like in 2018 to 2019, and it changing is like night and day. To where like he was just there, and he was like almost like this what do you call it? A disassociated malcontent that wanted to just get a check and leave and be lazy and not do shit. And like the Tekker's thing has totally turned this thing around to where like he cares about like his roster or his faction mates or whatever else. And obviously, with All Japan, like I'm sure he has some old history with Sonata going back weights and some shit that I've never even heard about at All Japan, whatever. I'm sure there is there. I'm not going to go to search it first for it or whatever else. But like, yeah, he was genuinely happy for that dude. And like the way they reacted was like, that's a potential tag team down the line, as well. And like, I just like the faction. It makes sense. They got 2 dudes that can you throw in a main event slide at a certain time. They got the guy that they put to the championship spot right now. And like Doki can go out there and go crazy, and Taka is a stick guy.
Yeah.
Like this faction is going to work out. Like, TMDK is going to work out too. I just like how they've changed some of the status quo stuff around New Japan. It's not anything groundbreaking or anything like this is altering. It's not like it's Naito leaving LIJ or anything like that.
Right.
I like how they've changed the roster. Now you have fresher matchups to be able to get, actually some tension on like a Shingo Sonata match or like, even the Bullet Club stuff, like with the guys, like they're going to do a ELP Finley match, and like you put some heat on that, like they're gonna have a good ass match because like Finley does have good matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So New Japan, awesome show for all the stuff I saw. Then their undercard stuff is the tag stuff's there, but as far as like those top 5, that was like nothing to complain about. That was a solid afternoon of pro wrestling. Like that was,
it was
very solid, very good, like high level. Like this might sneak on the show of the year list right here.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at it up against Wrestle Kingdom, but I think this is the better show.
Yeah.
I have to think about. I have to look, but
really
I think
great
it is.
matches here. So I'd have to look at it, but yeah, that's totally possible. But let's switch gears here. It's been a couple weeks since we got to covering AEW here, but it's been pretty interesting with some of the stuff that's going on here as far as Dynamite. This week, Dynamite happened in Long Island, so we know what that means. It's MJF country, so it's Bret Hart in Canada. Bizarro World, correct. We opened up in that we started with a match between Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson that never happened because we got the debut of Jay Whiteo.
Yeah. We'll get to let's talk about Jay White, and then there's something I got to address in the chat. But yeah, Jay White shows up, and the crowd popped big for him,
and he played his
then
music.
him and Juice like beat the hell out of Ricky Starks, and honestly, like I think that's a nice program for Jay White coming in, Ricky Starks. I really do, because like their characters will play off each other very well. And then like Jay White is level of wrestler to where like he can hide some of the stuff that's missing out of Ricky's game in the ring. So I think like that actually works out really well for both of them.
Yeah. I think Jay White already got off to a blazing start with me. He just stopped the Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson match before it even happened. So shout out to Jay White for doing that. Maybe this is a new Jay White that likes to please Rich Latta. Who knows? So I guess,
don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Never know.
Wait and see.
But I guess we should talk about that. So Jay White signing with AEW over WWE. People have put out these different things with this hiring freeze that's going on with the sale. Them not really being as talkative with Jay White in the process. Tony Khan swoops in, grabs this guy, and I'm sure he didn't come in cheap. This guy is a former 2-time IWGP heavyweight champion. I think he's going to get a decent push. And he could, he's puts himself right in that class, like those early 30s guys that they have. Like he's as experienced as pretty much any of them, especially in big match situations.
I mean, technically he's more experienced than even Adam Page.
Right. And it's like, all right, well, let's see what he has. There would have been part of me that would have been, I think I had thought he was going to go to WWE, and he was kind of tailor made for WWE in a sense. But it would have been part of it that was sad that he would have been like 30 years old, headed immediately into retirement. So if you can stave that off for a couple years, cool, because there's lots of cool stuff you can do with Jay White here in this promotion, like tons of over baby faces. He's also a heel that doesn't have a problem being a heel, that you can like really like carve his section there of being a fucking bad guy against people that people love, and he'll roll with it. Like he's not trying to do the double reaction shit that right. I'm starting to get very sick of, like across the board in professional wrestling. But his New Japan time was it was very hard on him, up and down. Like maybe that was a lot of had to do with typecasting. Like it was just who he was being expected to be. I don't think he comes into AEW with that same pressure. So maybe it'll allow Jay White to be seen in a different light by a lot of people, maybe even by myself. Like he's not being handed the keys to the kingdom, like essentially like before his time. So I don't know. I'm positive on him coming in, and let's see what he does. And until he starts drifting into old habits, I'm gonna kind of give him some rope here, because he's got all fresh opponents now. There's not like movies and tons of tape on what he's done with all these other guys, and he has a big reputation too. Like everyone's talked about him as this great promo and stuff, so he's got some stuff to live up to as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on the thing of like giving him rope, and this is being a fresh lease on life for him. Being in AEW, because as you mentioned, fresh matchups, and also the thing that cannot be, or the thing that I'm not going to forget is like when he came into AEW and wrestled on shows. He wrestled without the bullshit and the Bullet Club and Gato and all the rolling out the ring and powdering and wasting fucking time. He got busy and got to wrestling, and that was like one of my more fun moments with Jay White. Was watching him just come in the ring, wrestle the match, not be on this bullshit. If you want to cheat at the end because you're a heel or whatever else with a dick kick or whatever else, I understand it, but like you're going to give me mostly what I want to see out of an AEW match. And if he's going to do that, I have no problems with him being here. But the second he gets a heater coming out here and starts cheating these matches and bringing that Bullet Club shit over here, that's when I'm going to be like, see, here you go. But given what the track record is so far in AEW, I have no reason for those concerns so far. But so it's a clean slate for me right now. It's a clean slate.
I'm gonna get him and MJF in the same promotion. I think that's gonna be pretty interesting as far as like the heel debates. Who's a better heel and shit like that, and see who actually like would win out. And all these, like we're gonna get. We don't have to imagine them elsewhere. But New Japan loses this guy. Obviously,
NJ's taller than him too.
Yeah. New Japan loses this guy to admittedly one of their business partners. I wonder what the dynamic is there. I think it was kind of well known that Jay White was unhappy to a certain degree in New Japan. Of course, he kind of started traveling over there less. There was a lot of stuff that happened mid-pandemic that made his run strange, to say the least.
This directly doesn't have anything to do with Jay White, but we heard about him and Juice and the traveling and how much they hated it. And what was illuminating, obviously, I don't know how much of it was real or the way it was described. Obviously, he was in the middle of cutting this passionate promo, but like when Ospreay cut that promo about his at the press conference for Wrestle Kingdom about 2 Omega, talked about how he was basically in a fucking small box in quarantine for a week or two or whatever else, while he had to watch from a video watching his friend be buried. There is something to that from a human perspective that those guys had to go through that we have not seen, we were not told about, or not. It wasn't described, in flushed out ways as far as the quarantine process there. Because look, they do have those what do they call them? Those capsule hotel rooms, and bro, them things is not big. Them things are smaller than penitentiary rooms. So the prison room. So like there is to do all that just to wrestle.
And then like you got to start asking about Will in the future.
Yeah.
All these guys potentially making their way in.
Yeah. But like to me, it always given what was happening with the build and everything to Wrestle Kingdom this year, it seemed like Jay White wanted out, and apparently it had to be known that he was leaving. And he went out and did business the right way on the way out, put guys over. And I think that obviously if it becomes like everybody fucking goes over there, then it just there have to be a stopping point as far as putting their foot down and saying we're done fucking working with you. But like I think there are cases where it's like this person was going to America and it had nothing to do with Tony Khan meddling and stealing talent. Like it's a place where he was not going to be wrestling here anymore, and he decided to work with our partner. And we still have the history with him, and he'll help buy some subscriptions when we do Forbidden Door or whatever else, and we can move on. It's
like all right, would you rather him lose him to WWE or you never see him again, or like there's a couple times a year he could come over and help you out still, like
potentially,
I don't know,
potentially, yeah.
I don't know which one you take like in that situation, but anyway, we'll see what happens.
So hold on before we move. So now that we're moved on from the Jay White thing, let me go back to this chat. The thing that I saw King of the North. Oh, was it King of the North? Who mentioned that fucking terrible match I did not want to see? Somebody in this chat mentioned, now what do they do? Sonata versus Jake Lee. Somebody said that. Who said that? Come forth. Who the fuck said that?
Sonata and Jake Lee, Kings of Puro.
Look, man, don't be putting that kind of shit into the chat. Like that's the negativity we don't need. See, we were in the middle of like giving you like a good clippable segment. I almost derailed it because I was like, hold on, stop, hit the brakes. I had to stop myself from
pull over.
Yeah. Don't do that to us. Don't do that to us. We're here to entertain you. Don't make it harder for us. So yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, King of the North did say that shit. He came forward. He confessed. He confessed to his crimes.
Good on you, to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, don't ever put that shit. Look, I was saying this when because apparently they're teasing a cross promotional show between All Japan, New Japan, and Noah. And I had said to Josh, if I'm All Japan, I don't want to be on no show that got Jake Lee on it again. Like we just got out that business, and we're doing much better without him. Why would I want him on a show that's got our name on it again?
Like no, do not enter.
Right. So yeah, man.
So after that, we had Tony Schiavone was backstage with Jericho. I talked about Adam Cole's match in the post-match celebration last week. It went on and on and on. Cole had punked out Daniel Garcia, but he had to, put a stop to the disrespect. Then all of a sudden, Keith Lee shows up, a tad bit lighter, and still the full gray beard, gray hair, and all that. And he talked about Jericho's disrespect that he showed to many in AEW. Keith Lee challenged Jericho for Milwaukee this coming week, and he's gonna show him a thing or two about respect. Jericho was he's like, nah, man, I don't want no parts, and he just backed up. So we got Keith Lee versus Jericho next week. And then there's something else that, could possibly happen here. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But that's an interesting match.
Yeah. I think this all of them going to play into each other, these matches that Swerve and Keith Lee both have. Or let me rephrase this. They should, because otherwise, what the fuck?
Yeah, I have no information on anything regarding Swerve and Keith Lee's feud. I'm watching like everyone else, so I'm just going to let it ride. But as far King of the North says, are we bringing back the Never Count Out Chris Jericho clip on Wednesday? Maybe.
Definitely.
They come out here and ball out. There are a lot of people with Jericho derangement syndrome that overtake the timelines at various times, and I have no problem setting these people straight. With the actual correct analysis on Chris Jericho and what he's done. Actually, our boy MP had sent me some tweet from a guy with a terrible Twitter account that said AEW's moved past the need for Chris Jericho, and you dig more into the comments of it and talk about how he buried Ricky Starks and all this stuff.
He buried Ricky
Starks,
or
Ricky Starks gained nothing or some shit like that. I was like, hold on, guy. Let's just look at a cage match page. So you telling me that Ricky Starks beat Chris Jericho, then beat his entire unit one by one, then beat Chris Jericho again, but somehow this is Jericho has affected this man negatively.
Yeah.
I can only describe it as delusion, derangement.
Really weird, man. Really weird.
House of Black made their entrances. Then they're going to defend the trios belts against Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. This was a nice little sprint in the second half of this, and I thought this was pretty cool seeing Trent get dropped off by Sue, or the whole group get dropped off by Sue as a recurring character. And there was a nice little Orange Cassidy Buddy Matthews thing that actually was a preview of something that ended up getting set up. I actually watched Rampage and Battle of the Belts, both up in the ratings this week.
I saw that. Why do you think that was?
They were live.
Okay.
But House of Black ended up getting the win here. And nothing too notable here, but
I enjoyed the match.
Yeah.
I was like disappointed because like Sue was there, so I figured like Sue was gonna come out at some point, and then Julia Hart was gonna miss Sue, but whatever, it didn't happen.
No NBA this week either. Okay, yeah.
And also the tournament ended, so there was nothing on a Friday night to
So that's gonna be awesome when the playoffs start, and then.
Oh yes, it's going down.
We had Excalibur thrown into a video of Christian Cage, who hasn't been seen since Revolution. So it came up out the dirt. Christian Cage has emerged from the crack smoke. He's sitting there with Luchasaurus and have this red lighting in the background, and I saw people starting to throw these theories of Edge and all this stuff.
Oh God.
I'm like, look, man, y'all gotta stop with this lighting lore, bro. I don't know, man. I hope not. But
I just think that what wasn't when Luchasaurus basically turned into Kane, wasn't his backdrop bread too?
I
At
think
the time?
so, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really what all it was. But look, it would not surprise me the slightest if Adam Copeland was all elite. You've heard me make that joke before. I can see them. I can see Edge and Christian begin to tag team in AEW and basically being like, "Look, you tried this with the Hardys, except we can actually still do this."
Man, after that, we got Jamie Hayter taking on Riho for the Women's Championship. Another solid match here between these two. I believe their last match was actually in Long Island as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow.
So this rule also.
I thought it was very good. I thought it was very good. And yeah, just big girl, little girl, and little girl has to bring out some physicality and take a pounding from the big girl. I thought this was really good.
Unfortunately, Riho did not bring the pipe. That she wanted to engage in proper competition.
Do you see that she actually she put out a poll for like should she bring the pipe down?
Yes, I did. I'm aware of the pipe lore. Indeed, she did not take the pipe with her, James.
Oh man,
maybe she should have. Maybe she should have brought the pipe. You know,
it pops me every single time, so she should. That she should bring it down like how Hikaru Shida brings down the kendo stick. Yeah.
Look.
Or like Asha Khan brings down like that like
the box
dumpster thing.
I'm telling you, like now
bring a weapon.
Like since like, her weapon has been assigned to her, maybe like in AEW Fight Forever, like, remember the WCW NWO games, like Sting sometimes would start the match with the bat. You would get people that start the ring like Raven would start the match with a stop sign. La Parka would start with the chair. Riho can start with the pipe.
Yeah, I'm with it. Why not?
Run it. After that, Renee was backstage with the Outcasts, basically congratulated Jamie in a mocking fashion. And Ruby Soho said, "Don't get comfortable. One of us is going to be the next champion." Renee tried to ask, who it would be, but Saraya was like, "No, you're not going to try to, I'm friends with you. You're not going to ask this question and try to start no dissension or whatever." So, after that, we got Angelo Parker, Jake Hager, and Matt Menard. Matt Menard was dressed like Making a Difference Fatu with that jacket on. And
I didn't put that together when I first saw it. I was like, is that like the jacket that Martin wore on like the show entrance?
Bro, it looks like it.
I mean, I was just like, I just saw the colors and I was like, is this like, what is this invoking? But like, you're right, it is Making a Difference Fatu.
So Maskcaster did a rap, came out, and he was running down Jericho, talked about George Santos and the Cocaine Bear stuff, and they did like a 8-man tag essentially, or it basically said we're setting up an 8-man tag for Rampage, but we're not actually joining you guys, so. They showed MJF getting the key to the city of Oyster Bay, which is on Long Island. MJF said it's one of the proudest days of his life, and we got MJF Day. So after that, we got it was a video package, and it rolled into this. Justin Roberts showed a full swing band on stage. MJF came out in a white tuxedo, pretty much the same thing he had in that singing video with Chris Jericho he did. He sang a song called "Pennies from Heaven." I don't know what that is. This is way above my pay grade.
Apparently, it's some Rat Pat song, so whatever.
Then the whole MJF was singing this for minutes and minutes and minutes on end, and he came and went to the ring, I believe, at one point with it. And then he went back, and he came to the ring. He went to the ring
and he did a promo talk, and where he basically aired out one of his old teachers, which probably was a work, but whatever, it was great.
Yeah, he brought out the mayor, and the mayor got booed, or the supervisor of the town something like that.
Yeah.
And he basically said he deserves this. Go ahead.
Real quick. I don't know if it was Taz or Shivani, but he was getting booed and he just powered through it. And he was great while this person was handing the key to the city. He was great while dealing with the boos. And as he walked out, like either it was Taz or Shivani, I don't know who it was, but he was like, this dude has a great future as a heel manager. It popped this shit out of me because that man, the way that man like went through them boos was like, this shit don't faze me. I do this.
Right. So he basically told the fans the story. Said it's not a village origin story. It's not lore. So MJF tapped into podcasts like these, I assume. Does the teacher story, as I mentioned, and all this took a really long time. Like, and I was like tapping to watch. I was like, hey man,
really?
Yeah, I was tapping to watch for sure.
Oh god,
especially during the song stuff. I was like, all right, man.
Oh my god, he was great during that thing.
I was like, let's get it going, man. Like,
I loved the whole thing. I thought he was great, and like, what do you want? Another match with two people that work? Like, I thought this was great. I thought this was one of the more entertaining things on the entire show. Maybe it's too indulgent, what you're saying. I don't know, but like, I thought that like the performance thing, the crowd was super into it. He's actually singing and performing well. It's a live crowd doing the whole thing, or sorry, live band doing the thing. Then he goes to the ring and then cuts that promo on an old teacher, which is like, this is one thing I always enjoyed about like when people talk about. I'm going to put police to the side, the military to the side, and like the way like these people as if they're not actually people that you went to high school with, and you like would some of these people that you absolutely would not like want to trust with a hamster, or all of a sudden do in charge of some of this stuff. But like, we know people that are teachers, and we know some of the things in their lives that are going on. And we're like, when people talk about like how important these teachers are, and I'm like, I'm sure some of them are. I know some of these people are teachers. And like, I would never want my kids being taught by these people. But anyway, so, and we always hear about like teachers, how awful some of the teachers are to students or whatever else. And like, that never gets brought up as far as like, you know, how many times have you ever heard stories from anybody about like, this teacher told me I was going to make it. This a successful person, like this teacher told me I was going to make it. How in the world do we have all the successful people that ever made it being told they weren't going to make it? What happened to the people that weren't even successful? They were told the same thing. Why did all these teachers suck?
There was a great Rick Ross line that captures everything you're talking about. He simply said, my teacher told me that I'd be a piece of shit. Seen him the other day driving a piece of shit. Like,
like, what was it 50 on If I Can't? He's like, I'm the dropout that made more money than his teachers. Like, yeah, like that stuff happens all the time where these teachers are just fucking mean and whatever else and just shitty to kids. So it's like, that was a super relatable thing. Like, I'm not saying exactly like Austin, you know, beating up Vince because that's beating up your boss, and that kind of catharsis, but it's like, it ain't too dissimilar. We've all heard of our friends being treated like shit by teachers, or even ourselves being treated like shit by teachers for no reason. So yeah, air their ass out. The crowd popped like crazy, and I was like, if he ever does actually go babyface, it's going to work. And we've known this for a while, but it's like, why fight it? Why fight it?
So he went back to the stage, but someone smashed the cymbals behind his ear, and there was a guy in a mask. I was like, hold on, who is this? Yep. And then he rips it off, his Jungle Boy, and they run it, essentially. MJF, like, kind of got some control, then Jungle Boy was getting booed for this. And then they got separated by the agents and security. Then they part kind of like the Red Sea, and then Sammy Guevara's music hits, and it's time for his match, and the belt's laying right in the middle or whatever, and he comes out. Like, this was like really creative how they shot this. Like, I think any other promotion would have fucked this up majorly. Like, as far as like the positioning, the timing, all this shit, it would have been like, no, it would have been clusterfuck anywhere else.
They would have fucked it up because they would have changed too many camera shots as opposed to just leave it on the one fucking camera.
Yeah. And, you know, Sammy comes out, picks the belt up.
You know what?
Great.
After 2013 TLC, when Orton beat Cena by handcuffing him to the rope.
I
He's
remember
going up
this.
to climb.
10 years ago,
Orton
James.
grabs, snatches him, and throws him down. There was the Raw the next day where, like, on the stage they had Daniel Bryan and John Cena, basically like side by, off the sides, and then Orton comes out last, and he holds up both belts in both of their faces, and walks down to the ramp. So WWE even has done something like this before, and it was well done. But like, I don't know if it's like they don't even do it that well now, or whatever else. But yeah, like it was a very good shot. It was a very good shot.
Yeah. So Sammy comes out, picks the belt up, which is funny. A lot of people were pissed at that.
Got to get some heat.
Then he took on Commander. And man, flips, rope walks. There was a lot of rope walking. Commander gotta add a little more. Was there
only rope walking? Because I think by the fifth time I was like, all right, nigga, come on, man. What else you got? Is this
don't get it wrong.
This is go-to move.
Loved it.
Like when adversity strikes, this man's going to get up onto a turnbuckle and then walk his ass on the rope and then jump off that bitch. Yeah. And then by the end of it, he did so many times that the last time he does it, he catches a super kick, right?
I think he caught a knee, if I'm not mistaken, and it was like,
he caught a jumping knee. That's right. He did it and come off to the floor and then caught a jumping knee.
Sammy was
stop jumping. That's how your ass got in that situation.
Sammy was great in this match, and it was like this has been part of like a multi-week thing with him, where it's like, all right, let's show you whatever. So he beats Commander with the GTH. And he cuts a promo after the match, and he gets booed big time. But I thought this was a really good promo. A lot of people didn't like this promo, and maybe I'm the Sammy Guevara defense squad on this. But
the words were really good. The delivery was not. There's a delivery issue with him as far as like it seems like he doesn't actually want to cut promos. He's just there and cuts them. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but like it just comes out like there's no like passion to actually cut them. Mm-hmm. It's weird. He seems almost detached while he's cutting these promos that lay out like his foundational, like reasons for why he does not, or fundamental reasons why he like, dislikes this dude, which are all legitimate. It's just kind of weird. I don't know if it's a thing where like maybe we never really seen him as a babyface for long, so I don't know if this is the way he does it as a heel or not. I can't tell.
So like he started,
but he comes off like as if he comes off like I don't want to say what's the word. When he talks on the vlog and talks about AEW being a family and stuff, or not,
he was great on the reality show. The reality show, episode 2 was like built around him.
He does here. Okay, so when he does the stuff that's not like on screen on AEW live television, he comes off as genuine. When he does it on screen, he feels like a phony. Mm-hmm. Even though it's all fake, we know this. It just doesn't feel the same way. I don't know.
So he started it with a line that popped me. He's like, "What y'all booing for? I did something the world champion doesn't ever do. Wrestle." Like, I was screaming when he said that. He said, "What the hell is this? American Idol?" He said, "The last time I fought this dude, I had you beat when we wrestled, but Sean Spears in a chair beat me." Like, these are all legit things. He said, MJF's pillar was built by the others. Like, he brought up everything MJF kind of left out of that one promo, but talking about Cody, talking about Jericho, and other shit like that. He said he never sold his soul, or MJF sold his soul to be a pillar, something he'll never do. He's not gonna stop, so he's AEW World Champion. Blah blah blah. But like, I thought it was I was into it. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get the ball rolling. So
yeah, it's it's funny because last week. And I don't think we talked about this last week, but last week, they did the MJF and Jungle Boy, face-to-face promo thing.
That one was awesome too.
And MJF is skipping rope with kayfabe, talking about how like, we had this match, it was so great, and I thought we were actually, someone that I could see as an equal. And you remember what I said to you backstage, and I'm like, hold on, that match ended when you hit him with a fucking ring. Why were y'all talking backstage? Stop doing this shit, MJF. So yeah, like it's
Jungle Boy was awesome in his response, and the crowd
Yes,
wanted to get on. It sounded like they were this close to getting on him, and then when he fired up the right way, they got behind him.
Yeah, and then MJF did that line that he does with people, like he did to Yuta. It was like, oh, it's about time they finally cut a great promo, kid. I'm like, yep. I hate when he does that line. It serves no purpose. It doesn't help anything. Like, it completely undercuts what the babyface is saying. Like, if you're going to cut him off during your match, not in the middle of the promo. But whatever. Yeah, MJF with this pillar stuff. Outside of my critique of saying stop fucking with kayfabe, stop bringing kayfabe, like he's doing really good work with these guys and bringing them out to try to bring out, you know, things about them, and it's working very, very well with Jungle Boy. I think the content was there with the Guevara things you said. The crowd just wasn't here because they're in Bizarro World, and also he has delivery issues. I'm waiting for the Darby stuff though. That's what I'm really waiting for.
Yeah. So we got Hook and Ethan Page for the FTW title. I have no memory of this. I can't even cap. Except Matt Hardy turned on Ethan Page at the end, I believe.
Yeah.
Not really much there. So they threw it back. They made to introduce Nigel McGuinness, who was backstage with Tony Khan. Tony Khan said before AEW was founded, 4 pioneers, Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega, put on a show called All In, the biggest independent wrestling show of all time. 5 years later, AEW is going to make their London debut August 27th, Sunday, and they brought in Adam Cole, who's the designated Tony Khan surrogate for any of these announcements now. So
they did last year with Forbidden Door.
Yeah, and he did the show for the All Access show. He did that one too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep. So after that,
did Adam Cole basically take over the duties that Cody would have had?
Maybe. Got the reality show.
I didn't think about that part, but yeah.
So after that, we got Blackpool Combat Club squashing geeks, killing them, and then all of a sudden, they get on the mic. Danielson starts going on about how there are no real professional wrestlers anywhere, and everyone's amateurs. And he kept repeating the word amateur over and over again. Myself, I'm not somebody that will repeat something over and over again, but Danielson went ahead and was doing that over and over again, and he there were a lot of people saying that he was stealing the hypothetical material that CM Punk would say or whatever in a feud with the Elite. They basically, I heard this, I was like, all right, we're doing the Elite aren't real wrestlers thing again. Okay. I thought that was last decade, but apparently not. After that,
they're heels.
Yeah,
they're ex-WWE guys.
Yeah,
they're getting heat on the AEW crowd by saying the thing that would annoy the fuck out of AEW crowds. I don't see the problem. Do you really think Daniel Bryan actually thinks Kenny Omega's not a real fucking wrestler? No. Stop getting worked. Relax. It's fine. I thought it was, and also it ties into. Or not ties into, but it reminds me of what he was doing when he was doing the People Champion thing in 2018-19, where it's he'll say a word and repeat it, like when he was telling he was going to the crowds and talking to them about how they're shitty, they're destroying the ozone layer, and he's like, impotent, change it. And he kept saying amateur and
fickle.
Yeah, fickle. He did say fickle as well. It reminded me of that. And there's always that part of playing to that that AEW versus WWE thing when you have Cesaro, Moxley, and them, and they're the Blackpool Combat Club and they're doing the quote unquote catch wrestling or whatever else. I can see why he's calling these dudes. He's doing that for the heat, and obviously they're going to go out there and they're going to have great matches, and after that they'll go from there. But the matchups are awesome, and I think that Danielson like did the whole thing about like, you know, I want to go see my family, and then I think he's more or less like the general sentiment was like, this is also my family too. I'm back and we finna beat these things ass. And I fucking enjoy it. And I just can't wait to these matches. And you know, we're gonna get blood and guts with Kenny Omega in it or whatever else, I believe. And like I'm happy to see that. And we're gonna see more Danielson and Omega. I'm happy to see that.
So this I forgot what happened, but some reason Hangman Page gets a bright idea to bring his country ass out there, and he decided to fight 4 deranged people by himself and got whooped.
Did you see what Claudio did to him?
He just like picked him up out of the air. Like
Claudio just grabbed him and then corralled him to the corner so the rest of them could just stomp his ass out. That was great. It's like, bro, you know how much I love Cesaro since turning heel. He's just like, I'm just gonna grab you and let the rest of them beat the shit out of you. Like you thought you was gonna beat all of us? No, get grabbed and get stomped.
Bro, this man came out there like, I don't know if that man had a hit of the Jack Daniels ahead of time. Like I don't know what made him walk out there. Like that was like a bad decision, a very bad decision.
He was trying to prove something. I hope he was able to, I hope he proved it, whatever it was, because whatever it was dumb. There's something I didn't understand, definitely.
Yeah, like he came out there. This man pulls out a fucking screwdriver.
Yes.
And jams it into, I don't know, his eye, maybe?
I couldn't see what he tell. Jammed it in, but it was just to freak people out in the live audience. Yeah. It worked.
So, they fucked that man up. Like, that shit is like, don't ever do no shit like that again, Hangman.
Like, they gave him a horseman-style beatdown. Like, I was saying to Rich, like, they may as well have broke his arm or broke his leg and been like, how about it now, Paige? They beat the shit out that man.
Yeah, like that's an all time.
He even think I'm gonna come down there with a weapon. He's like, nah, I'm gonna handle this with no weapons. I'm Batman. All right, okay. Batman had a utility belt. You just have a belt buckle,
and that shit looked like a championship belt buckle. So one thing that he was saying was going on about BC being the professionals and stuff like that, and Paige doesn't have anyone who loves them as much as the BCC. So like there was some on BT this week where it was only a 7-minute BTE this week. So on Rampage, Brandon Cutler cut a really good promo actually, and he was like, what do you do, when the people that stand up to the bullies are gone or whatever? And then it's like it was like this serious kind of promo. It was like, him and Nakazawa were there in the elite locker room, and they were the only two there or whatever, because obviously Kenny been taken out, the Bucks are injured, Hangman got took out, and then they announced that Nakazawa and Cutler are gonna fight Moxley and I believe Claudio next week. And it showed them watching this segment, the Bucks on BTE this week, where he was talking about nobody loves him, and then before the final shot, they showed Matt in the arm kind of joint for, I guess, the bicep thing, and then they cut back to it after, and they showed that shit still sitting on the couch, but they had got up and left. So I think the Bucks are coming back this week. So angle alert there. So we'll see.
Look, for Nakazawa and Cutler's sake, they're better. Otherwise, ass finna be whooped quickly.
I just hope that Nakazawa and Cutler take it easy on these gentlemen.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
They basically, let them know, hey, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. However you want to do it.
You know how hard I would laugh if one of them actually said that shit to Claudio.
We can do this easy. We can do this however you want to up there, pal.
Yes. 6'5" guy. Oh man.
Is
Cutler still in the face mask?
I didn't think he saw one. No, he's. I don't think he has it anymore. But
all right, he might just want to throw that on just in case.
yeah. But after that, we got the main event of this show: FTR versus the Guns and James. This was for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, by the way. If FTR lost, they would be out of AEW. Unfortunately, it did not go my way on this one. Unfortunately, the Guns were stolen from. But before that, we got a legendary entrance in wrestling, and there's no other way to quantify this. There are people that have gone on the internet and talked about how wrong this was, or they didn't like this. I'm here to let you know those people are wrong. This entrance was shot. They showed up in New York City with the Mini-Men theme. No idea they were going to do this. They shoot this shit in this rotating camera and like this one spotlight. These dudes look like absolute stars doing this. And
they look like 94 Shawn Michaels. They did not.
I don't give a fuck what they look like. Like these boys look like big time. That was a big time entrance. Like that shit was like
okay.
That shit was sensational.
The entrance was great. And then they came out, and then you're like, oh, the crowd is not making any noise for them. They're singing just to the song. So now, do you want to get to the match?
No, I still want to talk about this.
I wouldn't want to get to the match either. After I say someone looked like stars out there, and then seconds later went out there and looked like Jags. So
they came out there. This crowd was singing this song, and they were playing the edited version of this. And
did anybody go back to see if any of the Guns were singing the words?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
if
sure
any
that
bombs got dropped, one of them.
Look, I'm sure you were not going to catch that, but I think everyone can put it all together.
I don't know.
In their free time,
comes across my mind. Like, why come there's no, the more popular genre of music is hip hop? How come, or is rap? How come like these like wrestlers don't come down to rap? Well, because of stuff like that. Fuck around and ruin it for everybody because you don't know how to act. Yeah, so yeah.
They did not come out here and get caught slipping, but the crowd was handling it for them. They came out and I loved it. I thought it was great. And I guess my thing with this is a lot of people saying this shouldn't be the Guns using. I'm like, all right, man. Like if you don't want white people to be involved in hip hop, I think you should just come out front and say that.
I don't think it's a continual thing. I think it's a one off.
Not right. I think it's a one off, but I'm saying like as far as this, like you didn't want to see the Gun Brothers do this or anything like that. I'm like, all right, if you don't want white people,
that's also part of the heat.
All right, you don't want white people to be involved in hip hop, just say that. Like I think I think that the two paces out of the tube on that one, we can't exactly like tell them they can't enjoy this too. Like I don't think it's I don't think it's a situation like GCW where they were coming out here just stealing blatantly. I think I don't have I don't have the reservations. I'm pretty sure that they paid to license that song, so right. I don't think there's that issue there. I thought that this is great. And then the match started, and there were funny things that happened in it. I thought that the touch of them trying to get themselves DQ'd was great. I don't
know how that made sense though. Like, was the rule that they had to win the belts, or otherwise they have to leave, or was that they had to win, otherwise they had to leave? Because I was unaware of what it was exactly was the stipulation.
It was titles versus careers, so like you had to win the belts.
I kind of feel like if you're gonna do a title versus career match in your AEW, you kind of can't let the heels get out by trying to cheat to get out, because that'd be fucking preposterous.
That's why they.
Then they do it, and that what happens with me when I watch it. I'm like, wait, why would you do that? That makes no sense. That is preposterous.
Because they're such assholes. They tried to bully the referee into DQing them, and the referee really was like, "Nah, you're not doing that shit." That was supposed to make you like it.
Yeah, but it just makes me think that doesn't help. Like, I understand the ref isn't going to do that, but like, I mean, I watch Japanese wrestling. The rest on GQ, people have cheating all the fucking time either. It's like, for me, I was just like, that doesn't. First, I see why it worked for some people. For me, it was like, the idea that could even happen is like so ridiculous. Like, if you're going to do a career versus titles match and they have to win the titles or go the fuck home, then like DQs has to kind of be thrown out the window, period. One would think if this was a company that
I don't think the heels like adhere to that. I think the whole deal with them is like they're going to try everything.
No, I'm not saying it's on the heels or the heels are idiots for trying it. I'm saying that the Tony Khan is a kayfabe dumb promoter for even allowing that to be even possible. You know what I'm saying now? By saying like that,
it's however you want to look at it. Like, because like
I mean, it worked. It worked
because it worked ultimately. I mean, look, so like that's I'm like I'm not going to take it off the table.
Well, given how absolutely average that match was, the crowd did pop for that, so it did work. But in my mind, I'm like, wait, what? Wait, that was possible? They could actually have DQ'd them on that? That would have been one of the lamest fucking finishes ever.
They would have kept them belts though.
Like, I also was like, when I see stuff like that, it makes me like, don't do that shit because somewhere down the line, like, that's a WWE finish waiting to happen. If someone loses their career, like fucking DQ. That is fucking horrible. Like, I want to lose my way out, but I don't do no jobs. That seems like that's how Triple H would have lost his career. Ain't even allowed to continue. Some shit like that. Like, bro, get that nasty shit out of here. That is dumb. Beat people or leave. Like, that in between stuff is so wishy-washy and so unsatisfying. And I get it, they're heels, but it's like, come on, man. Like, you get them that kind of heat, and then to what end does anybody actually get like a payoff on the back end? The FTR is now, in WWE in that situation. Obviously, they didn't do it. I'm just saying, like, if they were to play it through and actually really do it, they're like, okay, so why are we even doing that? Even teasing it. But we can go on.
Well, they tease it for the, FTR winning, essentially thwarting all that shit. FTR won. This wasn't a great match or anything. I was like, just kind of watching it ho-hum. But
it wasn't bad.
Yeah, FTR wins the titles. And they finally get what they want. They got the belts.
And the did FTR, not have to beat the Acclaim to do so.
The FTR
is exactly what I called it the second it happened.
The FTR Anon can have this, and now the cool thing is FTR got to defend those tag team belts. I don't want to hear about no trios matches that you're trying to have. I don't want to hear about no singles Dax Harwood. No, you're gonna defend them tag team championships. Go ahead out there and do so. I don't want to hear how you trying to put yourself in the main event, Dax, in a trios match. I don't want to hear
what happened.
I don't want to hear when Dax Harwood is being interviewed talking about he wants to be on Wembley Stadium in a trios match and shit for the with CM Punk and the Elite. Like I don't want to hear it, buddy. Nah, you cried about these belts. You created a goddamn conspiracy and all that. Go ahead, defend those. Stop trying to put yourself in trios now. Stop trying to put Kenny Omega back in trios. Nah, man. You chose. You chose. You defending belts. You go out there 2-on-2 and run it.
So has like Dax done a podcast since appearing to have re-signed with AEW and basically like been like, hey man, like all the stuff I've said before, like it's just work. It's fake.
I think he said something
to
the effect of
all this time.
I think he said something to the event of this was all sealed a long time ago, and like Tony Khan understands FTR more than Vince McMahon does, and I was like, I could have told y'all this months ago, like,
right. And it's like we all knew that, and that's the reason why we like think you're insufferable because you keep crying while knowing this.
Yeah, maybe we can get them out there. They can have a rematch with the Gunn brothers. We can line up Butcher and the Blade for these boys. Who else? Some other tag teams that can stand to get a look.
I'm not helping you in this bit. You're on your own. Like, there's only right now, as far as a big match they could do, would be them versus the Acclaim, They have the Acclaim have that victory over them, and you'll get that back. We're gonna see if they want that smoke.
That's
and by the smoke, I mean like how the crowd's gonna not react to them compared to the Acclaimed.
I don't think they'll not get reacted to.
No, I mean as far as like, it'll be like some 40, 60 shit, and they won't like it while they're both baby faces. That's what I mean. Like they'll get a reaction, but like they clearly did this maneuver around getting the belts back without having to face them yet. That's what this was. There's no fucking reason for the Guns to ever hold those belts.
Man, I will say though, I think the Guns elevated their profile a little bit. I think they got over to a certain degree in this little time with the belts, and I think most people saw them as like just this nothing team before. I don't think you can say that now and really have credibility at this point.
Okay, where are the Lucha Bros?
They are the ROH Tag Team Champions.
So when are they going to face FTR and do a unification match, or you get both?
They're not going to.
I find that way more intriguing than anything the Guns have ever done.
What I'm not necessarily comparing the Guns to the Lucha Brothers though. Like I'm saying the Guns to literally nothing. Like people thought of them as nothing. I think it's impossible to think of them as nothing now.
That's true. It's easy to be very dismissive of it's very easy dismissive of them. And yes, they have shown that they have a pulse. Yes, that's nice. Like, but this is AEW, this is tag team wrestling, and like the idea that like the Heat they fucking don't deserve any point to ever have those belts is the Heat, and now just go with them is like, all right, now what? Like, what are we doing? Are you just gonna be on Rampage now? Are you going back to Dark? I don't know, but like, I'd rather see the Acclaimed. I'd rather see whatever tag teams they just pull out their ass and create out of singles that turn into a tag team from here on out than whatever the Guns were doing in programs against FTR or whoever else. And it's like, all right, so like we moved the Lucha Bros to ROH, like when we to do this gun thing. Like obviously a bunch of stuff was going on, but it's like you think of like what it's similar to like 2004 Olympic team, right? Where it's like, all right, yeah, they end up going, they didn't go in and getting bronze, and you think of like the confluence of all the top players in the game were out in 2004 to make this happen to where they could get the bronze medal. Is like, okay, no Kobe, no Shaq, no KG, only Duncan, only Iverson, no Ray Allen, no Paul Pierce. It's like that. It's like, wait a second, where are the Young Bucks? Oh, hurt. Okay, where are the Lucha Bros? Oh, hurt. Dante just broke his knee or broke his leg, and you start going out the list, and it's like, oh, so this is a reminder that, like, the tag team division was in the dregs, and that's why they end up with these things, so they could actually do this. And it's like, I don't want to remember. I'm not going to look back on this fondly, even if they have acquitted themselves fondly. Like they whatever. This is just a waste of time. And another reason to like avoid FTR having to face the Acclaim without the crowd like turning on them, taking the belts off them. And now like they'll have the match and like they'll retain and beat them, but it'll be like, well, they already were the champs. And they didn't, and people won't see like what happened to avoid that. Like it's good, it's sneaky booking, it's whatever else, but like it's also like I would have liked to have seen how they would have overcame that kind of adversity, but they ducked smoke.
Yeah, I don't know if it was me. I would have kept the belts on the number one merch sellers in the company personally. I would have just had them beat FTR. I mean, they did beat FTR before, but I don't know. Yeah, it's
there is also something to be said about like FTR behind the scenes do believe in the Guns. So this could have been a situation like the Young Bucks basically it's like the IZWGP tag teams where it's like, hey, like they offered this to us, but how about we give these to you instead for a certain amount of time or to give you that shot? And like FTR basically like, look, we could have these belts right now. Let's give it to the Guns. So we believe in them to an extent and we want to do this little program with them. That's fine. But like, that's fine and nice of them, as friends of them. But like, as far as a fan watching, don't do that shit ever again. Like, no, thank you.
I gotta say, I did like the promos leading up to this, but when it comes to the match,
the match didn't match.
What you got? So, I wonder what I don't know what Dave gave that match. I would be interested to see what he went on that. But Mark Briscoe came out, celebrated with FTR. So other happenings in AEW Rampage, they had a match with Darby Allin taking on Lee Moriarty. Darby got the win. Also,
this Rampage?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of that, Swerve had made it. They played a Swerve video before that saying, "Hey, there's been a merger or whatever, and we own 51% of something, and but you'll see soon." And then after the match, Darby Allin is walking up the ramp backwards, which is always a tip off to some shit happening. And then Swerve comes out, kind of stares at him, smiles, tries to shake his hand, but Darby's like not really receptive. And Brian Cage jumps out of nowhere, looking like double the size he ever has. Like it just fucking jumps on Darby's head, and Brian Cage and Darby have had a lot of issues, but we find out that and Prince Nana, I believe, comes out. Swerve has merged Mogul affiliates with the Embassy. I believe Parker will be returning when he's clear from his injury, and he's going to have Khan. He's going to have Brian Cage. He'll have Toa Leone, and they've got them 6-man belts. Swerve is, and Prince Nana is like the manager. Swerve looks like he's, the leader here. And then there's one other thing I'm privy of, which I'll just leave there. But that's kind of like a new unit, and it's like Mogul Affiliates is like kind of absorbed them. So it's like the tree is like Tully Blanchard Enterprises into the Embassy into Mogul Affiliates, like all been folded into each other, kind of. So
okay, so first off, the second you add Brian Cage, we have made this thing. We've given this thing life in a way that like we did not have before with Mogul Affiliates. Like Parker being Pocket Brock Lesnar, it's not going to work. But whatever, he'll figure it out eventually, or he won't, or whatever. The other dude, Trench, didn't see much of him. Sorry,
not sure if he's returning.
Okay, yeah. So either way, didn't see enough to know one way or the other. So Brian Cage, is one of the better wrestlers in the world. Like, so I think it's going to work out with him just being a big muscle goon, huh?
Parker will be under the Cage learning tree, one would hope.
Potentially, yeah. I can see that. So yeah, like this is off to like going from like the NBC, from those two dudes to NBC is a huge upgrade. So I'm happy for them. Happy that it happened. So just to give you an update. So I just went to the cage match for Wednesday's Dynamite. So cage match rating for the titles versus career tag match is a 6.56. Meltzer gave it 4 stars.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
imagine what the Bucks could have did with the guns then. Jesus.
Who knows? Like, remember, like, what was it? Was it the Young Bucks and Adam Cole had a trios match on one of the pay-per-views? It was like a 3 3/4 star match. They must gave 5 stars to. So, like, yeah. Like, so when people say like, oh, Meltzer's overrates all these Young Buck matches or whatever, I was like, there is a little bit of truth for that, but don't forget this fucking like 3 1/4 star match that he gave 4 stars to. Don't you fucking forget it.
Yeah, Swerve and Darby are set up for next week on Dynamite, along with Keith Lee and Jericho. I feel like there's going to be some Christen and Cross in here of something.
Gotta be.
So I'm not sure of everything that's going down here, but I think this Swerve and Darby thing is going to grow legs throughout the summer. And I think it's going to be something to pay attention to with all the surrounding characters in and out of AEW.
Okay.
So
be on the lookout.
Yes, indeed. Be on the lookout. In other news, Swerve dropped the Defy Championship this weekend to Nick Wayne. So, and
he said he's going to have a rematch whenever, like the second he turns 18 or something like that, right?
July 18th, so Nick Wayne will debut against Swerve in Saskatoon. So, looking forward to the summer.
Do you want to talk about you talk about? Do you want to talk about that Julia Hart in Anna Jay match?
You know
or
what?
no?
I do want to talk about the Julia Hart and Anna Jay match because I'm convinced people they're gonna.
I only heard about it.
They're gonna make me do it, James. They're gonna make me add Julia Hart to the list, to the Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, AJ Lee list. You know what list that is?
Mediocre white women.
Oh my god, I'm dead. Oh my god. So Julia Hart and Anna Jay have a match. It's not particularly good. It's not like it's not El Gigante or anything, but it's not good, right? However, all I'm seeing is constant Anna Jay slander. Like, she's horrible. She's all this stuff. But Julia Hart is the one that it's all because of her. This is going well. This is, she has this presence, this character, all this other stuff. I'm watching a shitty match between two people. This is what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything good about either one of them. I just heard both of them. I just heard neither one of them were good. And it was a bad match.
These people are on the same level. Like, what are y'all watching? Like, are y'all in love? Do I have to go immediately to that card? Like, are y'all in love with the 20-year-old, the young one here?
She's 20.
Yes. Like,
okay.
Like, what's the cap here? Like, what are we doing? You like her entrance music? Cool. I like the entrance music too. I thought it fits in a way, kind of like how Evil's new theme hit for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you like her wearing the hat? Cool. We don't have to lie about the wrestling. We don't have to do it. Like it is actively a choice we don't have to do. And as far as her and Anna Jay, I think they're pretty much at the same point in their development. I don't see exactly what one is necessarily doing that the other isn't in the ring. Like people will talk about, the reps on dark and stuff like that and trying things out, but ultimately these people have to work together. We know Anna Jay was wrestling on the house shows. Like we can point it out. Like I'm just struck in the fascination of how Anna Jay is so bad, but Julia Hart was this good or whatever.
I think it also is the part of people being worked by the characters. Like, people do not we're somebody that we know notoriously despises what Anna Jay has done on the microphone of late, mm-hmm. since becoming Anna JAS. I think that's I think that's playing into it for people. I think the look of her of Julia Hart being with House of Black, people like it. I haven't really heard too many people explain why they do, but I have heard people say they like it, right? Like they don't explain what does it for them as far as her in there, but they just like it. And I think that is, why she's kind of dodging or being able to skate by on this stuff, right? I think that's something to do with it. And Anna Jay, people were killing her about how bad the t-shirt was. Like, you think she made that shit? Do you think that she was she got while she's, between training and flying back and forth from all these places, trying to take care of her body, all this kind of stuff, and her mental, that she's out here in the Photoshop putting this shit together?
Drawing the artwork. Y'all think she's like Lee Moriarty? There are some people that do draw their own art shit, right? Like, he's one of them. I don't think Anna Jay.
Yeah, I don't think she's I don't think she's Oscar with the graphic design. I don't think so. No.
Yeah. But yeah, I just found
we could be wrong, but I just don't think that's no.
I just found that whole thing a bit perturbing, and I was like, what are we doing here? Like explain this to me. Like, I look, I don't want to put Julia Hart on the Alexa Bliss list. I don't. Please do not make me do it.
Do you want to answer King of the North's question that he just put in the chat?
That's part of her promo that she's been cutting. She's basically says, I have a fat ass and a bad attitude. Like, that's directly from one of her promos. That's like why the shirt was made.
Okay, so it's not that I don't like that, is that I don't think that exists on the person that's saying that. So what am I to do? I don't know what to do with that. Like that is not exactly Trinity. You know, that is not exactly did you freeze? He ain't say nothing. Okay. He sat there, didn't move. And like, where is James going with this? Is he getting himself in trouble? Like I just don't like this ain't exactly Tony Storm. This ain't exactly like Mercedes Martinez. Like there's nothing. This ain't exactly Jamie Hayter. I keep going. I'm gonna stop. But like I don't really. There's nothing I saw back there that was like that. And like I don't really try to even focus on that stuff anyway when I'm watching them wrestle. So like I don't get it. Whatever. I don't get it.
I have nothing to add on that one. But all right. So the thing with Julia Hart being 20 years old, I know people are like, yeah, I'll give her time. She's only 20, you know, blah blah blah. I'm sorry. I guess, you know, maybe I should just not watch Hanan anymore, or Rena, or Azumi, or Starlight Kid, or I should not watch any of those people or anything.
Look, if you were going to compare Julia Hart to fucking Azumi, then like yes, she should just fucking retire and never do this ever again.
I don't think it's fair of me to do that.
I don't. Yeah, right. I'm with you. That's not exactly fair. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I didn't see the match. I heard bad things, and I just leave it at that.
It was a lot, man. Like I was in a forum, kind of like very outnumbered. There were a couple people that were kind of standing with me on like, hey man, what are we doing here? Like Julia Hart is not Akira Hokuto. What are we doing? Like this is not Manami Toyota compared to Anna Jay. Like what are we doing here? Stop this. Like, you know. I was just puzzled. Yeah. I was like, what are y'all
saying?
They
main evented, didn't they?
They main evented, yeah, and you know, they did pretty good in that spot.
I personally would have called it Athena to handle that, but okay.
Right. I was like, you know, while everyone was trying to like lift this, I was like, where's Hikaru Shida? Like, you know, I'm like, I don't have to like play this. I know they need development. They need chances and stuff like that, right? But okay. Look, the best thing is one can say is that the ratings like didn't collapse on their watch.
That's cool. Yeah, it's just weird to me. It's like not weird, but it's kind of interesting to see like who is going outside of just doing like I don't want to say the bare minimum, but like they get their spots in AEW on you know the darks or whatever else, and they get their reps that are inexperienced, and then like you'll see other people like get indie spots. Like you'll see Sky Blue's always working, it seems, right?
Mm-hmm. Just got like, actually the graphic recently too.
Yeah, and it's like some of the other women or some of the other dudes that are inexperienced or whatever else. Like, why aren't you going to indie spots? Like, you're obviously going to get more of a look than the average indie wrestler because you're on TV. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe, you know, situation of life, work, balance, or whatever else. But if you want to get better at this and then get the screen times, you got better at this. You kind of want to try to put that to use or try to, you know, work on your craft outside of just AEW.
Frankie says she has strong social media and does decent merch, and Julia's been out doing indies.
Okay. I didn't hear about that, but I do remember like Anna Jay it being a big deal that she was on that house show.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, we look. Do we have remember years ago? There was a time in WWE it was like Big Cass or Baron Corbin. Who you got? Like, do we have to like make the imaginary race between Julia Hart and Anna Jay?
Baron Corbin versus Big. Was this like NXT?
This was like 2017.
Whew. Damn.
I remember I wrote like a compare and contrast column because I thought WWE was going to push one of them really hard. And they wanted to push them both, but, you know, obviously Cass kind of fell apart.
Thank God for Tony Khan. Yeah, that probably did happen. We probably did have that conversation. I
wrote a column about
that it's shocking that we did that. Like I don't like. Wait, we spent our time doing what?
No, I wrote a column about that. It's on Social Suplex right now.
Wow.
Yeah, like, and I was literally like Jekyll and hiding them, and I was just figured, I think that was that summer I wrote like 33 columns, so like, I was getting topics everywhere, so
okay.
I was trying to hit it all. So,
okay,
but shit, I'll take right.
Shots up.
Yeah, I was getting shots up.
Okay.
But I think I'll take Big Bill. Just saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Battle of the Belts, Orange Cassidy defending against Dralistico. This is actually pretty good. A lot of these Orange Cassidy title matches kind of sneak up on you about, what they look like. And, I think he's defended the belt like 15 times. And they set up a match with him and Buddy Matthews for the international title. I believe it's on Dynamite this week. And they gave him Buddy a promo before the match. They kind of made it seem like Orange is in danger, so something to watch there.
Like he's getting worn down, right?
Yeah, like they're starting to push that storyline. So whenever
like
somebody
Darby
starts getting worn down,
title the first time around.
Like Miro too.
Oh yeah, the neck, yeah, right.
Yep. So Jade Cargill took on Billy Starks, who I'd never seen before. She's an 18-year-old,
and she's better than Anna Jay and
yes,
Chili Hart.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't think this was some wonder kind or anything either, but she was cool. And she wrestled Jade, and their match was better than Anna and Giulia's. And they gave Billy Starks a couple of hope spots, and they kind of like they didn't get her out of there immediately. Like I think she got maybe a good near fall on Jade, if I'm not mistaken. A couple roll-ups and reversals. I believe she reversed Jay's finisher once. And like they didn't get her out of there. So like I think she's kind of on that Nick Wayne. Like I think they're trying to look at her down the road. But
yeah, she's made her rounds on the indies of late, like the last year or so. Yeah. Name I keep seeing a lot. Hadn't really seen her before. I heard good things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And then the main event. This is the best match of the 2 hours of Friday. Lucha Bros defended ROH belts against QT Marshall and Powerhouse Hobbs. The ending sequence of this was awesome. The finish was awesome. This was, like Hobbs would like pair off with each of these guys, and then QT would get in there, and it would be like the finish was sensational. I would encourage everybody to check it out, and the crowd got really into this at the end. Not some like notebook match or anything. I'd probably go like 3.5 on it, but the whole night wasn't like a big work rate night, but there was a lot of moving stuff forward because the Acclaim got turned on by Jazz on Rampage. Swerve's unit formed. Orange Cassidy pretty much set up his next defense, and he had a really good match with Dralistico. They were testing out, some of the women's stuff in the match, but as far as like the main event, like, yeah, like that was probably your most solid match of the night, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't have anything else here, but I guess we can wrap this whole up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, I haven't seen it yet, but Jessie Alaban is
right
in STARDOM. Like I don't think we need to drop the music or anything, but because I haven't watched it or anything, but she actually is like now the fifth member of Club Venus, and yeah, like this is somebody that you actually know.
yeah. So full transparency, I've known Jessie since about like 2020, if I'm not mistaken, and really, really nice person, really passionate about wrestling, and kind of determined to put her mindset on accomplishing what she wants to get done. And she wasn't wrestling for a while, and I knew she was working like Coastal Championship Wrestling, like I believe it's like Gangrel promotion down in like the other side of Florida, like the East Coast, southern part. And I had no idea she was going to Stardom. Like she didn't tell me or anything. So I saw her get announced as the X or whatever. Swerve sent me a message with it too, and I hit up Jessie. I was like, I had no idea you were X. Congratulations. Da, da, da. And like she came in. I watched the match today. The match went up on Stardom World, the first one. They also announced her tagging with Waka Tsukiyama. So
the next show I think.
As far as the trios match, they had her wrestling against Saya Hanan, and then Kaguma. Yep, and they she was brought in as X. It's like they brought her in last. As far as the match, they really highlighted her as far as pairing her off with people and letting her do like a lot of her signatures, what will be her signature stuff, and she ended up getting the pinfall on Saya. And the thing with Jessie is like she's very tall.
Yep. I want she's like 5'10"ish, 5'9" or something like that.
Yeah, she's right there. So they're putting her in there with Saya, who's 4'9". I think they did that for a reason,
right?
And just seeing how they positioned her kind of like a star. Like they're treating her like she was the star of the team, like above Mariah May, above Xena.
Okay.
And it was like, well, if you're out there with Mina, and then it was like, there's no reason you can't be the number 2 here. And then I was thinking about it, like how they had to work the match, like as far as like she was wrestling to her height. It wasn't like in NXT where sometimes it's like they don't care how tall you are. You're all going to wrestle the same way. She clearly wrestled to her height and stuff like that here. And I was like, well, with Himeka retiring, like as far as like, her, they don't really do foreigners in Stardom, or they haven't of late. I think there's an opening there. Like if you wanted to continue to like let her keep getting over in these tags and start building her up, and she could like be somebody like one of the champions goes through, or like they could end up pushing her for and like more than we think, just because like I think like she's got the like obviously she came from WWE, so they love that, I imagine. And as far as like I think with Club Venus, I think a lot of fans are actually behind Club Venus because I think a lot of fans look at them as like these women who have a lot to prove, and like I think people are rooting for them in a certain aspect. But I saw the match. I thought it was pretty solid. It went about 10 minutes, and I was very, very happy for her.
Yeah, it's in a weird way, the Club Venus thing is like a Gaijin offshoot of the like Cosmic Angels debate thing. It's like if you just watch one show, you think these are vapid airheads or just bubbly, people that are unserious, right? But if you watch these shows, you see that like someone like Mariah May, someone like Mina, someone like Tam, Waka, goes without saying, all those people, like they are there and look how they look, but they are there to prove that despite of how they look, you can't judge a book by its cover, and they have intentions and plans and dreams, and they're human beings just like any fucking body else. Yep. So it's funny to me when like I see people that like Mariah May came out with Zaya at Sumo Hall, and the immediate thought was, oh god, they're bringing back the shitty Gaijins. Which is debatable how shitty they actually were at the time, whatever. I'm not gonna get into that at the time. I'm talking about now. And like them Mariah's in the matches, and like she belongs. And it's like, and then somebody on Twitter the other day tweeted some shit to her, and like Sean Ross Sapp got into his ass, and everybody basically fucking just piled on what quote tweets saying he's a fucking asshole. Like she basically like just I look at you and you look plastic and fake and you're a shitty wrestler, and it's like, and then everyone's replying like, have you even fucking watched her wrestle?
Mm-hmm.
No response. Just wanted to be mean to a person because of how they looked, and it was like, this is the thing that I kind of, like that's kind of the reason. That's the reason why I ended up like lashing on the Tam at the time was like, you see the look, don't let them looks fool you. She will scrap like a fucking dog in there, right? So same for Natsupoi as well. So like the same thing can happen here. Where like I've seen enough Club Venus. I've seen like enough of Xena to know that like Xena like she wrestled with Mariah in the one of the Cinderella matches. It's like she has like growth potential as a power wrestler. Like, so depending on how long, this works, how, well they do, and, if they don't get homesick and none of that kind of stuff, like, there always used to be a rotation of guys just in and out of Stardom, but like there were, people like B and like Jamie that were like there for, 6 months at a time, or they're living in Japan like B was. So, if any of this stuff works out for them, I'd welcome them so far. They're not. It's not like they've been bad. They've held their end up. They've held up their end of the bargain here. I just kind of see that, like, it kind of seems to me that like the Club Venus thing is almost like an offshoot of like what they were trying to do with Hannah before, or with Tokyo Cyber Squad, where it's like we have, or at least at first before it actually turned to Tokyo Cyber Squad, was like Hannah's International Army, where it's like just been her and Gaijins, because she's the one that speaks the best English at the time, and Mina probably speaks the best conversational English. And you see, Mina and Waka hanging out together still, or whatever else. Not hanging out, but like it's not like I think people still think there's a shooter drop with like some breakout between Club Venus and Cosmic Angels. I don't think that's there, otherwise would have happened by now. But I think this is like Mina is basically, everyone likes Mina, so Mina's going to be here with these Gaijins to get people to like the Gaijins. I think that's really all it is, because Mina's still like seconding everybody from Cosmic Angels in their matches and stuff too, and still tagging with them at times. So we'll see, Cosmic Angels wrestle with like Mariah and Mina at times, like Walker and Tam. So, and even that's boy. So I just think it's just
And like Stardom can be like real meticulous with their wins and losses, so they're bringing her in and like giving her wins like right away. So that's I think that's nothing but a good sign. So, yeah. So hopefully this all works out.
I guess we should have dropped the music because people are in the chat now asking stuff that's going to take more time. I saw someone said, "Do you see Tam's head?" Yes, we did see Tam's forehead. Yes,
we did.
So
that shit was. Oof.
When was the last time we talked about what Tam and Giulia are doing to each other on air?
Not sure.
I think we last left off was when Tam cut Giulia's hair and then cut that promo where Natsuko was shook. So since then, they had the press conference for the Yokohama Arena show on the 23rd already. It was last weekend, I think. And at a press conference, or even before then, Tam does this interview for, I think it was for Tokyo Sports. And she says stuff in there where she's just fucking buried. Like, obviously it's in kayfabe, but like she's fucking burying Giulia. She's like, this woman is not popular. Like we do fan votes and stuff, and like she was like not even in the top 10 for the fan votes, and like everybody that you would think are the most popular people are like in the top or whatever else. And then like I talked to Obari about like how I'm doing as far as merch, and I'm always like top 2 or 3, and I never hear Giulia's name come up. And like I won most popular, and like she's like, or Cosmic Angels won most popular faction and the Shoot Pro Awards or whatever else, and this and the third, and she more or less sentiment, like at least to the sentiment of her saying this line that was like, I want to become champion because I believe that like Giulia's unpopular champion, and if I become the champion, then we'll sell more merchandise and draw more houses or drive better houses, and then that means like the wrestlers get paid more. And I was just like, God damn. She fucking buried this woman. Like, obviously, she did this in concert with Giulia, but I was like, God damn. And then Giulia reads through it and calls Tam this selfish asshole. It's like, you are putting like the success of the people that are in your faction as being like as if you made them, which is debatable how much she made any of them to some extent or helped or whatever else, but Tam didn't actually say that, and Tam says, I didn't actually say those words. You're just making this up to make an argument because I fucking ethered you. So then Giulia goes on to something about talking about Tam gets plastic surgery. She's putting her life on the line or putting her life at risk, and that was fucking hilarious. And then Tam responds like, maybe you should get some of this work done too with them fucking wrinkles on your fucking face. And it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Claws is out. Things is out. They swing for the fences out here. Home run derby. So then that's before the press conference. So then we get to the press conference, and so after Tam won that hair match back in 2001, she took a picture of like the belt, the white belt, that bracelet that her and Hoshiki used to wear when they were tagging together, and alluding to the promise they had that they were going to wrestle each other, and Tam was going to take the belt off Hoshiki. It never happened because Hoshiki had to retire because of neck and concussion injuries. So, and also like a section, like a segment of Giulia's hair from when she got her haircut. That was a picture, like after like the first thing she tweeted after she won. So they're in the press conference or whatever else, and Tam pulls out like that fucking hair from then, which was like, that is weird as fuck. And she says, I've held on to this because like, even though I beat you, I felt like I never surpassed you. And like, even while we, back to the, even though I beat you, everyone's talking about Giulia. And she's like, I want to take everything from you. And like, then before she got to that, she's like, this shit is going beyond the pale with me and you. Like, you took Sakurai from me because you're an asshole and no other reason. And like, I've done nothing to you other than just wanting to beat you to be the best. And you have done all these underhanded, mean, like, things to me because you're just an evil fucker. So fuck you. I'm going to take everything from you, beat you. And then Giulia's like, listen here, bitch. I've had enough of you. I hate you. Like, you talk about, all you ever talk about is taking things from people. You're a fucking thief. You are this untalented person that is in last chance you, because they weren't good enough to be a center girl in one of these pop idol groups. And then from there, like, they start scrapping. Giulia has rings in her hand. Giulia starts shoot headbutting Tam, and then hitting her with the rings on her hand. And then like Tam gets it's a pull apart. Giulia like gets pulled apart. The camera tracks towards Giulia. The ref, Daichi, the head ref, comes and checks on Tam / blades her. And then Giulia throws the ref out the way and then proceeds to beat more on Tam. And then by that point in time, Tam's just bleeding all over the place and everything. And I was like, holy shit. I said to you a few weeks ago before, like when they started this program up, like the way that they're going at each other, like they're going to need to get blood. And I don't know if they're going to get blood because this company doesn't really allow blood as far as like blading in matches. Like they've never done it. Like people bleed, but it's like their mouth or nose gets busted or whatever else. They bladed. And like with the shoot headbutts happening and Tam's head swelling up, it looks so believable that like she actually got hard weight.
Bro, I saw that shit
awesome.
Come on Twitter, and I was like, "Get your shit rock, Mon!" Like I seen Nakano-san.
So
like, god damn, like she had a fucking Bermuda Triangle in the middle of her forehead. She had a goddamn home plate in her forehead. She had a pyramid in her forehead. She had the Jay-Z Rockefeller sign.
She had the mountain of vibranium on her forehead.
She had the Jay-Z Rockefeller sign upside down, like Styles P said, on her forehead. It was bad, bro.
Yeah. So like Tam, she didn't tweet for days. Like they had a go ahead.
You can see exactly what Tam Nakano was thinking.
What's in your mind? Never mind. Let me see.
It just say Giulia,
So they had it. So then it's basically when they started like doing the preview tags with each other, right? And they're going to be doing a number of preview tags until they end up getting to Yokohama Arena. And so they had a preview tag where like the show wasn't even up yet. I don't even know if the show is up yet. It may be up, but like they basically like all this stuff has been going on with STARDOM with Tam and Giulia since then. They like, we putting this shit up and we're gonna have Sonny translate this shit and we're gonna have them put it out on the Twitter, on the that foreign Twitter immediately. So they did the same thing with the first match since then in the Cosmic Angels versus DDM, and like they start the match before the match even starts. They're going they're chest to chest ramming into each other, and they have to get pulled apart. And then they eventually get to a part in the match where like they get in with each other, and they immediately take it to the outside, scrapping to the outside, and then Giulia gives her a vertical suplex where like Tam's top half hits the floor and her bottom half hits like one of the chairs at ringside, and then Giulia tries to break the 20 count. Tam grabs her off the apron and then hits her with a fucking backdrop suplex onto a chair, and then not V-triggers, but it gives her the bicycle knee into the chairs. And I was just like, yo, and then the match went to a draw, and then like they have to get pulled apart after the draw, and they're still grabbing each other by the hair, and they're grabbing each other by the hair, and like, you know, Julia's had to cut her hair after she got, you know, the sides cut down. But like there's, you know, like this so tight that like Tam rips out like a chunk of Julia's hair and it goes flying. I'm like, I don't think that was a track. That did not look like a track. That looked like actual like shoot hair. And I'm like, yo, they are
shoot hair,
bro. I don't know what to expect in this main event, but I'm expecting greatness. I'll put it to you that simply. Like, it's gonna be super violent and crazy. I'm not gonna put no you know, thoughts and opinions on it. I think they're gonna try and have their best match. And they've had some classics already, so I'm super excited about this match. And yeah, they are doing everything to get this thing over the top. Or do everything they possibly can. They have left no stone unturned. Like, this is like Dan Coffin, who let's watch a few Stardom matches. Like, he was tweeting like, this is like the best feud in wrestling right now. And I don't disagree. I just would never say that because, like, you know, people dismiss, it's women's wrestling in Japan and blah, blah, blah. He's right. I didn't know that Dan was going to recognize it like that. But he has. I'm just really, I'm really surprised, like, how well people that, like, I have told about this and they're like, oh, this shit sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've told this to people that, like, just ask me, like, what's going on in wrestling that interests you? And I'm like, telling this and like, oh, is this on pay-per-view? How do I get a hold of this and watch this?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. It's interesting. Like, they've tapped into something really special in this building. There's still 2 more weeks. Who knows? I said to you on Saturday when I saw you, it's like, there's still time for one of them to set the other on fire before this match.
Shit. Imagine if they hated each other as much as Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Man. Wrap it up.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this with. If you're watching from the Twitch stream, go to look at the pictures. You see the Cash App and the PayPal links. You can go there and donate. If you want to donate because you are listening to the podcast, you can go to our show notes or descriptions and go to the Red Circle link there to donate. I will put links to Rich's part 2 of Dream Machine in the show notes as well. Check it out there to the pay hip. You can pay for it there, and be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides Mone Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, Gorman Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring, and Meet the Press Slam. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.